Wise people never take promises seriously in these three situations. We often hear that talking is an art. In reality, knowing how to listen is also an art, a true form of intelligence. An old saying goes, "It's easier to paint a dragon or a tiger than to draw the bones. It's easier to know a face than to know the heart," because we can never truly understand someone's intentions just by their words. People around us may say anything at will, but the choice to listen actively lies with us. No matter how cunning and deceptive someone might be, if we know how to listen selectively, their schemes will be exposed and difficult to accomplish. This idea is vividly demonstrated in daily life, where words spoken in the following three situations should not be taken seriously, as greater expectations can lead to deeper disappointments. In such cases, it's best not to speak, just listen. Let's look at what these situations are. 1. Words spoken over drinks. There's an interesting historical anecdote about words spoken over drinks. It is said that towards the end of the Yuan dynasty in China, Zhu Yuanzhang, along with Xu Da, Teng He, and 22 others temporarily left the Red Turban Army to recruit more troops in their hometown. Heading south, Zhu Yuanzhang wanted to recruit 3,000 men from a mountain stronghold, so he went there to persuade them. The stronghold's leader warmly welcomed Zhu Yuanzhang with a lavish feast. After 3 rounds of drinks, when both were slightly intoxicated, Zhu Yuanzhang revealed his true intentions. The stronghold's leader agreed and promised to surrender. However, 3 days later, when Zhu Yuanzhang sent someone to take over the 3,000 troops as promised, the leader immediately reneged, leaving Zhu Yuanzhang embarrassed and flustered. Eventually, Zhu invited the leader for another extravagant meal. The leader was tricked into attending and was captured, allowing the future Ming emperor to secure the troops without a fight. From this fascinating historical tale, we can see that words spoken over drinks should not be taken seriously. In modern society, social interactions and meals with drinks are increasingly common, accompanied by many flattering words over drinks. However, after waking up, even if others still remember, they might deliberately misunderstand and deny for their own benefit. At this point, if you take words spoken over drinks seriously, it means you are too naive. Therefore, if you are at a drinking table, it's best not to take any promises made there seriously, just listen. 2. Excessive flattery. Zhuangzi once said, "The friendships of the noble are as plain as water. The friendships of the petty are as sweet as wine. The noble maintain their distance, while the petty cut ties easily." This suggests that a noble person's emotions, though subtle, are long-lasting, while a petty person's emotions, though initially sweet, are easily severed. Words from the unscrupulous can be like sweet wine. They might sound pleasant but are ultimately harmful. If you indulge too much, you might lose your reason. As the old saying goes, if someone is overly gracious without cause, it is either deceit or theft. If someone praises you without a valid reason, there's likely a hidden agenda behind it. In personal interactions, people often exchange compliments such as, "You look great today," "You're very handsome," or "I respect you the most." However, if the listener takes these seriously and brags about them, they are being naive. If you can't discern their true intentions, you'll be easily misled. We should be wary of ideas and words that are too favorable to us. The advice of Tang Guoqiang is useful in identifying deceitful individuals and appropriately handling flattery. To achieve their ends, deceitful people will not hesitate to abandon their dignity and character to flatter and please others. Thus, we must be cautious about praise, scrutinize it carefully, and be aware while also understanding ourselves to avoid being deceived. Therefore, with excessive flattery, it's best not to take it seriously, just listen. 3. Social niceties. In meetings and conversations, many people often ask polite questions that don't really mean anything. For example, when asked if you would like more food, a simple "no, thank you" suffices. Don't think they are genuinely concerned about whether you eat or not. In life, there are many such phrases, such as "let's have lunch together sometime," "make yourself at home," or "feel free to ask me anything." These are all platitudes. Don't be naive enough to believe them. People who say, "let's talk about it next time," often mean there won't be a next time. Those who say, "don't bring anything when you visit next time," and if you really do that, they'll think you're too naive. Those who say, "tell me if you need anything," are usually unwilling to help. Therefore, we must be able to understand social niceties and act accordingly in context. 2. Do you earn money by carrying water or by digging a well? Before there were wells, carrying water could meet your immediate needs. But with long-term vision and intelligence, you would consider digging your own well, which is the real source of wealth. Once upon a time, there were two monks living in a temple on two adjacent mountains, named Nathu and Naihu. There was no water on these mountains, so both monks had to go down to the stream at the base of the mountain to fetch water. They often met during this task and over time became good friends. 5 years passed this way. One day Nihu went to fetch water as usual but did not see Nathu. Thinking Nathu might have overslept, Nihu returned the next day, but still, Nathu was not there. After a week and then a month, Nathu still did not appear. Worried, Nihu thought, "maybe my friend is sick. I should visit and see if I can help." Upon arrival, Nihu found Nathu practicing Tai Chi in front of the temple, looking perfectly healthy. Surprised, Nihu asked, "Nathu, you haven't come down the mountain to fetch water for a month. How do you still have water to drink?" Nathu smiled and led his friend to the back of the temple, pointing to a well and said, "For the past 5 years, every day after fetching water and practicing, I used my free time to dig this well. No matter how busy, I always found time to dig little by little. Now, I have completed the well and water continuously flows from it. From now on, I no longer need to go down the mountain to fetch water. I can also save a lot of time to do things I enjoy, like practicing Tai Chi, which I love." Smart people always know how to use their free time to create continuous passive income or to enhance their strengths in another area to achieve long-term wealth and success. Throughout the ages, there have always been wealthy people, and each was made by what they did quietly. Even when others did not understand, they knew what they were doing. So, when others understand, they have already succeeded. When others understand, they have already become wealthy. Whether you choose to be a well digger or a water carrier depends on you. Before there were wells, carrying water could meet your immediate needs, but with long-term vision and intelligence, you would think about digging your own well, which is the real source of wealth. Of course, to dig a well while still carrying water, you will definitely have to work harder and make more effort than someone who only focuses on carrying water. However, once you successfully dig a quality well, it will bring long-term rewards for you and your family. Everyone faces two types of income, one from labor and the other from assets. Income from labor is the income earned from actual work, and income from assets is the income that can be earned from passive, long-term sources such as rent, royalties, stocks, etc. Clearly, labor income will tend to decrease as our energy is limited and may even plummet due to a midlife crisis. Asset income will continue to grow with asset accumulation. Even when we are no longer able to work, we will still have a steady income stream. The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago, and the second best time is now. The world does not have rich and poor people, but there exist the mindsets of the rich and the poor. Initially, we all rely on our hands to accumulate wealth, but gradually, the rich accumulate wealth through assets while the poor continue to rely on their hands to gain wealth. Time is more important than money, but more important than time is our energy. We should diligently accumulate assets that can create passive income streams while we still have the strength to avoid unforeseen events or calmly face life when our energy eventually runs out. Life is not easy. You cannot just have Plan A, but also need to prepare Plan B or even Plan Z for yourself. Always having an emergency fund or passive income sources is wise and something that every adult should learn and practice from now. In summary, to be sustainably rich, one must possess three things: vision, intelligence, and a plan. 3. Wise people do not speak ill of others. The philosopher Democritus once said, "The legacy of a knowledgeable person is much more valuable than the wealth of a rich but ignorant person." What does this mean? In life, the most valuable thing is the worth of the soul. On a train, there was a little boy looking out the window and he exclaimed, "Dad, look, that tree is moving backwards." The father smiled at his son. A young couple sitting next to them felt pity for the father, thinking the boy was intellectually delayed. Later, the boy excitedly called out again, "Dad, look up at the sky. The clouds are chasing us." Unable to hold back, the young couple suggested to the father, "Why don't you take your son to a good doctor to treat his intellectual delay?" The father smiled and replied, "We just came from the hospital." The couple immediately assumed that the doctors there were incompetent. Then the father explained, "No, the doctor is very talented. My son has been blind since birth, and today he is able to see the world for the first time." Hearing this, the couple felt extremely ashamed. We all have our unique challenges as we live in this world. Before we understand someone's personal circumstances or their story, we should not judge them based on what we see on the surface. If you don't understand, stay silent, because you never know what someone else may have been through. 4. Understanding people. Don't exaggerate. Anne has been working as the assistant to the CEO for 7 years. During these years, some colleagues liked her while others did not. Those who disliked her spread rumors, claiming she got her job only because of her connections. Anne knew all about the rumors but never responded. One day, an incident occurred at the company when some new design documents went missing from a department. Everyone suspected Vi, one of the individuals who had previously spoken ill of Anne, of stealing the documents. The CEO assigned Anne to investigate the matter. After reviewing the security footage and interviewing the remaining team members who were present before the incident, Anne found the documents. It turned out Vi wasn't the thief. She had accidentally mixed the new documents with old ones and stored them away. After the investigation, Vi thought she was surely going to lose her job, assuming Anne would use this opportunity to retaliate against her. However, Anne did not do so. She reported the full truth to the CEO without exaggerating any details, and even asked the CEO to consider Vi's previous excellent performance and allow her to continue working there. People who understand others do not exaggerate, even if there have been past grievances. This is not just a sign of moral cultivation, but also shows a strong ability to control one's emotions. Even when you see the true nature of life, you should treat it with kindness and tolerance. This way, you won't let your good nature change, nor will you allow circumstances to change who you are. 5. Those who understand don't argue. Miss Duong once shared a story. One day, while she was speaking in front of a large crowd, a female student loudly criticized her, claiming that Miss Duong was spreading dangerous ideas that negatively affected the student's morale. Miss Duong was surprised and couldn't understand why the student criticized her speech. Faced with this baseless criticism, Miss Duong really wanted to prove her innocence to everyone. However, standing on the stage in front of hundreds of eyes, she knew that stubbornly arguing with the student over a temporary win could lead to further harsh judgments. Thinking this way, Miss Duong pretended not to hear anything and continued her presentation. After finishing, many teachers and students expressed various opinions about Miss Duong's teaching methods. She nodded in thanks without blaming the student. If you've done the right thing, you don't need to explain yourself to everyone, nor do you need to argue with anyone. Life has a type of wisdom called not disputing. No matter how much you argue, the world won't treat you any better. Some will agree, others will not. As Lu Xun once said, each person's joys and sorrows are different. Similarly, everyone's perspectives and interpretations of the same event also vary. Some people, out of pride, act irrationally. We should learn to keep a cool head to deal with complex issues. Sometimes, not arguing about right and wrong isn't because you are cowardly, weak, or incompetent, but because you know who deserves an explanation and who does not warrant wasting your emotions. Live life not mocking others when you surpass them, not criticizing others when you don't understand them, not fabricating stories about those you dislike, and not stubbornly arguing with anyone when you know it's unnecessary. Strive to live for what you love, write your own story, where no one negatively impacts the quality of your life. 6. Work steadily. Succeed in everything. Great achievements are often the result of enduring challenges that many others cannot withstand. Those who make great achievements may have faced numerous setbacks, but they kept their determination burning. They endured hardships to reach heights others couldn't. Don't complain over minor setbacks. Work steadily, and you will succeed in everything. Stay calm, and you'll go far. Being too honest can sometimes be a disadvantage. It's important to be kind, but know your limits, because excessive honesty can make you vulnerable. Remember, just because you treat others well doesn't mean they will treat you the same. That's just how people are. If you're too gentle, they might see you as an easy target, dumping their responsibilities and troubles on you. Don't be overly kind, as there will always be those who might take advantage of your goodness to harm you. The more you give in, the more others will push. The more you retreat, the more relentless they become. A gentle person is easily oppressed, just as a gentle horse is easily ridden. In any situation, it's important to have boundaries. Being too gentle can eventually lower your guard. Being too humble can ultimately make you appear weak. 7. In life, if you want to truly grow up, you must be tough-minded. Being kind doesn't mean allowing others to bully or manipulate you. When dealing with others, you should be a bit tough, but this doesn't mean getting back at people for every slight. Instead, it means not arguing, not speaking out of turn, and not getting angry. Sometimes, staying silent is the highest form of wisdom. This helps you become stronger and learn to protect yourself. Don't always feel too embarrassed to speak up, and don't be overly tolerant. Sometimes, you need to be a bit ruthless to stand firm. Appreciate those who are grateful and spend more time with them. As for the unscrupulous, it's better to stay as far away from them as possible. If someone challenges your self-respect, be brave and stand up for yourself when necessary. This is the best and most valuable response to uphold your goodness. 8. In communication, speak kindly. In life, it's essential to learn how to speak effectively. You should aim to speak in a way that earns respect and touches hearts deeply with every word. Be adaptable in your interactions. Adjust your speech and actions based on the situation, just like adapting your performance to suit the stage you're on. When dealing with others, be flexible, not rigid. Make others feel that you are worth their help. Just a bit of smooth talking can leave a positive impression. In the workplace, those who are good at communicating often receive a lot of support because people feel inclined to be generous and instructive towards someone less adept. Moreover, in life, those who know how to articulate well usually navigate social interactions effectively, gaining many friends and the affection of both young and old. Additionally, always smile and be friendly in conversations. After all, everyone is drawn to someone with a bright smile and a positive energy, rather than someone who always looks gloomy and unapproachable. 9. Work must be handled properly. When dealing with tasks, one should not rush or only look for immediate benefits. The phrase, "haste makes waste," holds true, as being steady and calm is always better. Being stable is an attitude everyone should adopt in life. It is essential to approach work with a calm, firm, and efficient manner. If you do your job carelessly and without responsibility, others' impression of you will significantly diminish. No matter what the task, you should always check with your conscience to ensure you are not ashamed before yourself and others. You need to be careful with your words, not speaking or promising carelessly, careful with your actions, not acting without certainty, and stable in your thoughts, not easily revealing your personal views to avoid being seen through by others. Small compromises can hinder great achievements. Those who aim for great success endure hardships that others cannot, which eventually places them in positions others cannot reach. Don't complain over minor issues. With a calm approach, you can be successful in everything. With steadiness, you can go further in life. In conclusion, being virtuous is a valuable human trait, but your gentleness should also have a bit of sharpness. Otherwise, your kindness can be exploited and backfire, causing you harm. In life, one must have a bit of toughness. For some situations and some people, it is necessary to be a bit ruthless to truly live freely and peacefully. It's better to have a heart that's too firm than one that's too soft. A truly steady person approaches situations with humility, without showing off or exaggerating. They think calmly about issues first, without rushing or feeling envy or rivalry, and always stay true to themselves.
Hey everyone, your comments truly matter, offering insights and motivation to others and uplifting our creative team at Lighthouse of Wisdom channel. Sharing your thoughts and experiences enriches our community. So, let's get the conversation started below and help illuminate our path with your wisdom.
10. Is it right to always maintain a high-intensity work ethic? Ka Hui has been successful in his field of choice, painting, from a young age. Enchanted by the masterpieces left by previous generations, Ka Hui always dreamed of someday having his own collection of iconic paintings recognized not only for their aesthetic beauty, but also for their timeless value. Over the years, he continuously improved his skills, hoping to quickly achieve his dream. A few years later, his efforts began to pay off. One of his meticulously crafted works brought him into the limelight, known among his peers for his unique and creative style, unlike anything previously seen. As time went on, Ka Hui's maturity in both his art and ideas solidified his reputation as a rare gem in the art world. This fame brought more commissions and collaborations his way. However, once he established his current position, Ka Hui felt compelled to work even harder to maintain his standard, driven by a desire to continue producing quality work for the art community. Some nights, the pressure from his own expectations weighed heavily on him. He feared that his newer works wouldn't compare to his earlier ones, leading to fatigue slowly taking over without him realizing it. No matter how exceptional one is, we must acknowledge that we are all normal individuals with routine daily schedules. However, some manage to achieve extraordinary tasks. So no matter how special you are, it's important to take sufficient breaks to recharge. In every aspect of life, we can't overlook the importance of inspiration. A person who works with both expertise and inspiration can create much more valuable professional quality work than someone who works meticulously but mechanically. To find that inspiration, sometimes we must allow ourselves adequate breaks to refresh our inspiration and energy, which we might have been neglecting by working incessantly. Many people, due to overcommitting and taking on too much work, find themselves with little time left for personal care. Ka Hui's case illustrates that maintaining success sustainably and over the long term by constantly working at a high intensity can be counterproductive. Sometimes, stepping back isn't a sign of weakness, but a strategic pause to study the competition and prepare for better, more impactful advancements. Remember, live for yourself, your health, and your happiness, not based on others' expectations. Only then will true success come and stay with you for a long time. 11. Avoiding meaningless talk is a virtue. It's considered virtuous to speak meaningfully. Our words should be reserved for those who truly value them, as each statement can reflect our intelligence and sensitivity. There's a guy who often rambles on about everything from minor to major issues all day, much to the annoyance of his colleagues. When you ask him a question, he might start talking about everything under the sun, from unrelated topics to multiple tangents, without ever getting to the point. Or when you're busy and staying late at work, he shows up to start a conversation, jumping from one topic to another, trying to drag you into long discussions all around the office. Even in work meetings, he might start talking about everyone from Steve Jobs to Bill Gates and then back to Jack Ma, along with a bunch of heavy-handed morals, but in the end, nothing substantial comes out of it. Famous Taiwanese author Kevin Tsai once said, "There's a world of difference between being articulate and just babbling. Sitting with a quiet person for an hour can feel like two because of the tension between you. But just 10 minutes with a chatterbox can feel as exhausting as a century." The real horror of someone who babbles isn't just their verbosity, but the nonsense they spew from one topic to another, wasting not only their effort but also the time of everyone around them. 12. Avoiding harsh words is a form of self-discipline. Around us, there will always be people who speak very bluntly and harshly but think they are just being straightforward with others. Being direct or straightforward is a good trait, but it needs to be coupled with sensitivity and should be expressed at the right time and place. In inappropriate moments, quick and sharp words can be hurtful, and directness can come off as rude. Polite and wise people always know how to put themselves in someone else's shoes, paying attention to the emotions and feelings of others before speaking in any situation. There's an old saying, "Words are free. It's how you use them that may cost you." This emphasizes the importance of making both yourself and the other person feel comfortable in a conversation. 13. Respecting commitments. In both our personal and professional lives, we often put ourselves in difficult situations by making promises carelessly in any circumstance. It's fine if these are casual promises. However, in tough situations that affect the interests of various stakeholders, your promises can become binding obligations that negatively impact many people, including yourself. A promise represents one's integrity and character and should not be given lightly, only to lose its value. When assigned a task, Germans typically respond with, "I will do my best," rather than promising, "I will definitely complete it well." They always avoid commitments that might be too ambitious. Instead of recklessly risking their reputation, they prefer to be cautious with their words, avoiding promises in any situation to maintain trust in themselves. 14. Avoiding petty disputes is a form of generosity. Sometimes in life, we inevitably encounter moments of conflict and disagreements with others. These conflicts can either escalate or be minimized through skilled conflict resolution. However, they can also grow from minor to major if they devolve into unnecessary disputes and arguments. Former U.S. President Lincoln once said, "Anyone determined to achieve great things should never waste time on pointless arguments." Indeed, each time we argue, we might vent our anger, but we lose self-control and cause negative consequences that affect both our interests and our relationships. As a result, we leave an impression of being petty and narrow-minded in the eyes of those around us. 15. Speaking sincerely only when necessary is a type of wise intelligence. An old saying goes, "In shallow dealings do not speak profound truths," advising us not to share our deepest, sincere thoughts in superficial relationships. Most arguments can occur when we say things we shouldn't to people we aren't very close to. Even if what we say is truly heartfelt, it's often best to only say part of it, keeping some thoughts to ourselves. For those we do not have a good relationship with, the truer the statement, the harder it might be for them to accept, and naturally, they will dislike hearing it even more. Valuable words should be reserved for valuable people. That's how a wise and strong person communicates, avoiding unnecessary complications. 16. Lesson on Patience. In Stefan Zweig's book, Marie Antoinette, The Portrait of an Average Woman, there's a line that goes, "We spend a year learning to speak, but a lifetime learning to keep silent." Being able to speak well is a skill. Observing quietly is wisdom. There's a story about a young man who found a very precious teapot. He cherished it so much that he even kept it on his bedside table to avoid theft. One night, while turning in his sleep, he accidentally knocked the lid off the teapot, causing it to fall to the floor. Startled, he woke up feeling sad and frustrated, mumbling to himself that the lid must have broken, and what use was the teapot without its lid? Acting on impulse, he grabbed the teapot from his bedside and threw it out the window, then went back to sleep annoyed. Surprisingly, when he woke up the next day, he found the lid perfectly intact. It had landed on his fluffy slipper. The young man was speechless with a mix of anger and regret, recalling the teapot he had thrown out the window the previous night. What good was the lid without the pot? In his anger, he smashed the lid to pieces. After breakfast, as he was leaving for work, he instinctively looked up and saw the lidless teapot hanging from a pine branch outside his window. Reading this, you might feel a mix of amusement and sympathy for the young man. If only he had taken a moment to calm down and reassess the situation, things might have turned out differently. Who hasn't had their teapot hanging from a tree moment in life? Often we lose our cool over small issues, fail to see the situation clearly, and make hasty decisions that we later regret and mourn. In reality, fate gave the young man 2 chances to save the situation, but unfortunately, he acted impulsively, so he ended up losing something he loved. It is said that acting on impulse is the devil's work. We should always think before acting. If we give ourselves a moment to calm down, think and act, and a bit more patience to see things in a positive light, our lives might be less filled with regrets. 17. Lesson on Restraint. Some time ago, I met Dee, a friend of mine. Dee mentioned that he almost got divorced last month. Known for being a loving husband, it was surprising to hear him say he was close to a divorce. The reason, it turns out, was a series of trivial issues. Unfortunately, Dee was away on business on Valentine's Day. When he returned, he forgot to bring a gift, which upset his wife. You forget our anniversary. You forget Valentine's Day. Do you even care about me at all? Sitting on the couch, D thought about how hard he works for his family, and yet he was immediately scolded upon his return. In a moment of anger, he raised his voice at his wife. They argued, dredging up issues from the past, and eventually blurted out, "Let's go to the courthouse tomorrow and get a divorce." The next morning, they went to the courthouse but forgot to bring their household registration, so they couldn't proceed with the divorce. Both were stunned. Isn't an ID enough for a divorce? By then, his wife's attitude had softened. She asked D if he had intentionally forgotten the document and if he truly wanted a divorce. After a night of calm, D's anger had subsided. He realized their relationship was inseparable. Having been in love for over 10 years, including a period of long-distance relationship before finally living together, divorcing now seemed like a waste. They returned home together, and D immediately started doing laundry and cooking. Even in happy marriages, couples might think about divorce over 200 times and feel like lashing out at each other more than 50 times. It doesn't mean they don't love each other. Sometimes, anger just takes over their minds. There's an old saying that when you're angry, your IQ is 0, and making decisions in such a state is the height of foolishness. So, when something upsetting happens, give yourself a chance to calm down. Don't let angry words hurt others. 18. The Power of Silence. In Stefan Zweig's book, Marie Antoinette, The Portrait of an Average Woman, there is a quote, "We spend a year learning to speak, but a lifetime learning to be silent." Being able to speak well is a skill. Quietly observing is also a form of tolerance and wisdom. In real life, many people tend to make a big deal out of small issues. They become upset over minor things and disturb the peace of those around them. The more urgent the situation, the more we need to stay calm. We may not be able to change others, but we can try to change ourselves. Learn to set aside conflicts and anger and practice cooling off. What does cooling off mean? It means when you're feeling upset, don't rush into a decision. Instead, put your frustration aside and give yourself 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 hours, or even 3 days to digest it. Perhaps when you relax, you will find a satisfying answer. Cooling off is a form of maturity and stability in a person, a kind of intelligence that can resolve conflicts and disputes, helping you avoid unnecessary regrets. So no matter how bad the situation is, don't be too hot-headed. If you encounter something and can't remain calm to think it through, then you're not just throwing away the teapot lid, you're likely to lose the teapot as well. When you begin to control your temper, good luck will gradually come your way. When you can free yourself from the control of your emotions and learn to master them, you are truly growing up. 19. Generosity of spirit. Read thousands of books, travel thousands of roads. The fastest way for a person to progress is by constantly reading and learning. This can truly change one's life. We have probably all met someone who is forgiving and generous. They are not self-centered but always think and care for others. Whenever someone needs them, they are ready to spend time helping and sharing with that person. Their words are sincere and well-meaning, making others feel their kindness and generosity. As a result, they inspire many people, causing others to change their thoughts and become more caring towards everyone around them. Generous people are seen as successful in life, not only in community activities and their careers, but also in their personal lives. A notable point is that anyone can become generous, no matter how much money they make or how wealthy they are, as long as they are sincere with others. We shouldn't be overly calculative about minor details or always worry about personal gain or loss. Sometimes, stepping back opens up broader horizons. Don't be too calculating about personal benefits and losses. Be generous in dealing with situations or with people who have hurt you. You can also become one of these people by cultivating and training your character. 20. Watch what you say. People will always have their opinions. Some may praise while others criticize, but no one truly lives your life or fully understands your experiences. Even if you have wealth as vast as mountains, it can eventually deplete. Similarly, you may work hard to build good karma over many lifetimes, but just a few careless or hurtful words can destroy it all in an instant. The wise have always taught that speaking excessively can drain your spiritual energy. Often, talking leads to unnecessary arguments about right or wrong, beauty or ugliness, compliments or criticisms, eventually leading to conflicts and mutual resentment which can cause much distress. Buddha taught, silence is like the Dharma, speaking should be like the Dharma. Thus, I understand that each word should aim to enlighten, bring peace, and be beneficial. We shouldn't hesitate to speak when it helps others, and doing so can bring boundless good karma. However, we must be very careful with our words when they could cause others pain or loss. Otherwise, we will reap the consequences. A lifetime of building good karma can be undone by just one spiteful remark. Remember, words are free. It's how you use them that may cost you. Anyone who is truly wise knows what needs to be said and what doesn't. This is also a way of cultivating virtue with our speech, to prevent troubles that stem from careless talk. 21. Deep learning. Tang Quoc Phien once said, "A person's nature is innate and hard to change. Only through reading can someone alter their demeanor. The ancients valued appearance, but reading can also change one's essence. For those who practice and those who do not, there may be no visible difference after one day, a slight difference after 1 month, but after 1 year, the change is total." This principle applies similarly to reading and self-discipline. Regular readers of philosophical texts will naturally exhibit a different demeanor from those who do not read. One might read many books and forget everything, leading some to question the point of reading so much. However, reading is like eating. As children, we may taste many foods and forget their flavors as adults, but it's undeniable that these experiences are assimilated into our being. A person who reads diligently every day, accumulating knowledge, integrates this understanding into their soul. Their way of thinking, seeing, and interacting with every situation gradually changes, even if we sometimes do not notice it. As the saying goes, read thousands of books, travel thousands of miles. The quickest way for a person to progress is to continuously read and learn. Life changes through constant learning. Of course, nothing in this world is eternal, and every path changes. Thus, each path must be walked and experienced by oneself, leading to personal insights and finding one's unique way. 22. Broadening your perspective. People often say, it takes a year to learn to speak, but a lifetime to learn to be silent. Some people, for a small benefit, are quick to speak harshly to others. Sometimes, even a minor dispute over a few dollars at the market can lead to an argument, and regardless of who wins, both end up frustrated. However, there are those who, despite being treated unfairly or misunderstood, remain calm, serene, and composed. The difference lies in each person's character. Some people, looking down from the second floor, see nothing but trash. Yet, from the 22nd floor, others see the city in all its vibrant colors. Different heights offer different views and shape our attitudes. Life is similar. With a far-reaching vision and a grand character, life too becomes more relaxed and expansive. A frog at the bottom of a well sees the sky as a small circle, while an eagle soaring high sees the vast, endless sky. Each judges the world from their own point of view. For the frog, the sky is merely the size of the well's opening. Your perspective shapes your judgments and defines your character. 23. The power of hard work. Everyone has goals, big or small, and if you want to achieve them, you need to work hard. The more effort you put into your work, the greater your achievements will be, and only then can you turn your goals into reality. A common trait among successful people is their relentless effort and perseverance. Compared to the average person, they can endure more hardships, strive harder, and work more than others. If he is a successful scientist, to achieve success, he must have put in a lot of hard work and overcome numerous failures. No one is an exception. There isn't a successful person who hasn't had to work hard. Developing a positive work attitude is extremely important. Once you acquire the quality of not fearing difficult, strenuous work and having the courage to think and act persistently, you can succeed in any job and in any competitive situation. Bill Gates believes that exceeding others' expectations of what you can do is very valuable and helps you broaden your perspective on your career. If you only do your job mechanically, you won't fully understand the profession you are pursuing. It's essential to put in effort and be bold in exploring new aspects of your work. 24. Reaching the pinnacle of success in your career. Everyone hopes to achieve great success in their lives and reach the pinnacle of their careers. Life becomes enlightened as we move forward, and with time, our efforts will flourish. No matter which career path you choose, it requires years of dedication. Even ordinary tasks need to be done well, striving for improvement every day. 25. Longevity and living well. We can't choose life itself, but we can choose how we live it. We should be generous and forgiving, not overly ambitious for fame or fortune. Whether it's a cool breeze or a light rain, both have their grace and charm. In our work, we should aim to be relaxed and composed, happy whether we are looking up or bowing down. By not overexerting ourselves or being deceitful, we can appreciate the simple, straightforward joys of life. This way, we can nurture our health and ultimately remain calm in the face of the world's gains and losses. 26. Make peace with yourself and go with the flow. You've put a lot of effort and passion into studying a particular subject. However, when the semester ended, the grades you received were not as good as you had hoped, and you felt disheartened for a long time. This year, you aim to win the Employee of the Year award. Excited, you plan thoroughly, striving all year in both your main duties and tasks outside your expertise. However, for various reasons, someone in another department performed better, and you didn't achieve your original goal. Life often doesn't go as we plan. Not everything we aim for and work hard towards yields the fruits we expect because many factors are out of our control, sometimes leading us to conclude that man proposes, God disposes, to lighten our hearts. After such failures, you might find yourself living with regrets and discomfort, wishing you could just leave everything behind and lead a simpler life without struggles. Why bother when everything seems to negate what you're doing? You might think during those times. But if you think about it, without specific goals, reality could be even worse. What works for one might be poison for another, and what is now might be a dream for many. You're so focused on chasing the sun that you miss enjoying the bright sunlight. We often regret the past and think about how we could have done better. Making mistakes is a normal part of life. It helps us recognize where we're wrong and how we can improve. After each fall, it's crucial to analyze the situation from various perspectives and learn valuable lessons to prepare for future challenges. So, don't imprison yourself with negative thoughts and harsh words after mistakes. It's not that you didn't try your best. Perhaps you just haven't figured out how to perfect your efforts. It's easy to give advice to others facing similar situations, But when it's our turn, overcoming these challenges can be daunting. To create beautiful wooden sculptures, a carpenter makes many technical errors and spends a lot of time perfecting his craft. We often see the finished product without witnessing the initial struggles. Likewise, things don't always go smoothly in our lives. Sometimes, everything feels overwhelming and we just want to give up. Few can calmly analyze these mistakes to find the lessons and adjustments needed for improvement. Instead, we might impulsively discard everything we've worked hard on, thinking, it's all wrong. Don't be too harsh on yourself or anything else. After all, we're just ordinary beings born on this planet, without magical powers to foresee and avoid future issues. Sometimes our mistakes aren't just missteps, but are efforts that deserve recognition. 27. 5 types of emotional traps wealthy people avoid falling into. When asking a successful person about their journey, you often hear about all the insecurities, fears, and disappointments they have faced. No matter what area you want to improve, career, finances, or social relationships, there will always be emotional traps waiting for you along the way. How can you deal with them? Susan David, a psychology expert from Harvard University, explains how to recognize and overcome these obstacles in her book, Emotional Agility. Emotional trap. 1. Fear of social pressure. People tend to choose what many others around them are choosing because things are much easier and faster if we go with the majority, writes Susan David. Thus, when deciding to pursue something different like a unique major or a new lifestyle, you will inevitably face social pressure, accompanied by feelings not to be underestimated, anxiety, hesitation, doubt, comparing yourself to others, and loss of motivation. Imagine you are a freshman girl dreaming of becoming a doctor, but you grew up in a culture that tells you girls are bad at science. Then you fail your first biology test. Chances are, you might switch majors and give up on your dream. The solution, according to the author, is to be clear about what matters to you. What values can or can't you compromise on? Passion, kindness, environmental protection, integrity. Susan David believes that strong values give you more willpower and resilience, and help you better withstand criticism, stereotypes, and limited beliefs. Emotional trap 2. Mourning comfort and the old version of yourself. When needing to upgrade yourself, many people mourn the comfort and familiarity of the old path, afraid to move to a city with more opportunities because of losing relationships in the current city, afraid to start a business due to the loss of job security. The discomfort also comes from abandoning an old identity. It's often hard to explore new things while still clinging to the golden past, like the image of an excellent student or a top employee. Every choice has its losses. You give up the path you don't choose, and any abandonment comes with sadness, pain, or even regret, writes Susan. Her advice is to let go of the old and tattered aspirations, while reinforcing the meanings you'll feel when acting in alignment with your future goals. Emotional trap 3. Discomfort in doing something new. Besides letting go of the familiar, the idea of doing something unusual also brings negative feelings. Change and self-renewal are not always fun or easy, at least not during the process. For example, if you are afraid of social interactions and someone invites you to a party, your most likely reaction might be to decline. But if attending the party is significant to you, or nurtures a new value you are pursuing, friendship, networking, you will try to overcome the fear and accept the invitation. Once at the party, you will experience another kind of discomfort, more so than if you had stayed home. These initial discomforts are the price of admission for a more meaningful life, asserts Susan. Emotional trap. 4. Overwhelmed in pursuing new goals. Once you've chosen to head towards your ideal life, the next emotion to beware of is stress and overload. Change takes time. We can't lose 10 kilograms in a week, switch careers instantly, or become a master artist overnight. The trick here is to leave your comfort zone very gradually. The ideal upgrade involves small adjustments and gradual progress, advises Susan David. In Emotional Agility, the psychologist encourages readers to place themselves at the edge of their abilities, a position where you're neither overskilled and complacent nor so underskilled that you feel overwhelmed. Emotional trap. 5. Not accepting the difficulties of the ideal life. Finally, once living in your desired life, you'll find that discomfort doesn't disappear. Sometimes living true to your beliefs means following a path that makes life more challenging, and you still have to face discomfort, stress, and conflicts. Susan provides vivid examples in Emotional Agility. Noted author Elizabeth Gilbert of Eat, Pray, Love fame found that although she loves writing, focusing solely on writing still made the creative process very challenging. Or like Jane Goodall, a renowned conservationist who often cried over personal sacrifices. A friend asked why she was so sad. Goodall's answer, recounted in the book. I told my friend something surprising. I said, I think I'm crying because I know I'm giving up the right to be selfish. Strange, isn't it? 28. Good manners can lead to good fortune. From ancient times to the present, there have been many lessons about people who have faced trouble because of careless speech. Speaking and communicating can be seen as an art, and mastering it means controlling one's destiny. Truly intelligent people never do the following 2 things. 1. Dishonest speech. Life is actually quite simple. The attitude we adopt towards life is often reflected back at us. Some people like to use tricks in their interactions with others to gain an advantage. Others might boast excessively, as if they are the best at everything. However, not everyone is gullible. If someone is smart enough, they will see through these deceptive maneuvers, and being dishonest can ultimately damage one's reputation. Therefore, instead of trying to sound impressive or clever, it's better to be straightforward and honest. Honesty is the best way to gain others' trust, and only by being honest can your career and life become easier. 2. Making unkind remarks about others. Some people are overly indulgent with themselves while being harsh on others. In their eyes, others always seem to do things wrong and have many flaws, and they are quick to blame. But pointing fingers is easy, while doing better oneself is hard. Everyone has their own limitations and ugly scars they don't want to reveal. Your words can unintentionally hurt others, embarrass them, and affect their self-esteem. Therefore, don't use gossip as entertainment or talk about others for amusement. Casual gossip that lasts all day is just a waste of time. Truly smart people know how to keep their mouths shut and avoid petty talks. Instead, speaking less and working more efficiently is a wise approach. Instead of talking too much, show your worth through your actions. Only good actions will earn you respect and admiration from others. Of course, this is hard to do, but those who manage it are the ones who can truly succeed and build a significant career. 29. Being humble makes you more appealing to others. To be humble means to bow your head, lower yourself, and recognize your own flaws so you can continuously improve. Humility isn't just about physically lowering your head in defeat. It's about how you conduct yourself. Indeed, in life, every challenge is like a door that doesn't quite fit our size. Sometimes the door is lower than our head, other times it's as narrow as half our body. To get past it, those who understand will know when to duck, bend, or lean, while the stubborn might hit the wall, injuring themselves and failing to get through. The best approach is to step forward with humility. Don't be arrogant because of past successes, nor be discouraged by temporary failures. When we're young, we often strive to assert ourselves, full of will and desire. While admirable, this can also lead to drawbacks like arrogance, complacency, and lack of humility. Because of excessive pride, we may refuse to learn from others' successes. To stop learning is to lose. A Japanese saying goes, "The heavy ear of rice bends its head low." Learn to bow as you navigate the low doors along the path of life. Knowing when to bow is also a skill. It's not about self-pity or weakness, but about deep and sharp capabilities accumulated over time. Great individuals are often humble. Isaac Newton saw himself as a child playing on the beach who happened to find a beautiful pebble while the vast ocean of truth lay before him. He famously said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." He never dared to consider himself a giant. 30. Working at 90 degrees, straightforward, fair, and upright like a true gentleman. 90 degrees is a right angle, representing honesty and integrity. This is similar to how people should work: squarely, fairly, uprightly, impartially, and transparently, like a true gentleman. Living honestly and fairly according to one's conscience is not easy. We often justify ourselves by saying, "Everyone does it, so can I," or think that being honest usually leads to disadvantages. Therefore, many give in to the temptations of materialism and money. To overcome this, we must let go of selfishness, avoid biases and personal dislikes, and reject weak compromises. It takes courage and determination to always do the right thing, even when no one is watching, and these choices are not easy. Or you might find integrity in being true to yourself and your words, or when facing serious consequences for your choices. Think about it. If you can maintain fairness and give what is valuable to those who deserve it, you are helping make the world a better, more livable place. Living uprightly, without guilt or shame, with dignity and strength, like the tall and noble trees that symbolize the steadfast gentlemen of the past, is a kind of character and wisdom that we need to cultivate patiently and persistently. 31. Living with integrity, treating others with sincerity. 180 degrees represents a straight line. In life, it means that we must uphold integrity and treat others with genuine sincerity, honesty, and transparency, without deception, personal gain, or fleeting glory that could harm others. Sincerity is highly valued in life because people often prefer an ugly truth to a beautiful lie. Those who live sincerely naturally attract others because humans gravitate toward truth and authenticity. A sincere person generates trust around them and serves as a warm, spiritual support for their friends and family. When surrounded by sincere people, we feel secure and at peace, free from the need to be wary, cautious, or fearful of betrayal or harsh truths. There's a saying, "Lose trust once, and all is doubted." Money lost can be earned again, but once credibility is gone, it's like water spilled, hard to recover much of it. Deception may harm others less than it harms oneself, as fairness often prevails in the end. Even if one temporarily gains fame, profit, love, or wealth by unfair means, eventually, what comes from heaven must return to earth. The consequences of harming others ultimately fall back upon oneself. Living with sincerity is beneficial not just for others, but primarily for oneself. Sincerity should not only be expressed in words, but must stem from a truly heartfelt place to genuinely persuade others. However, all acts of sincerity must be carried out with tact, respect, generosity, and civility. Otherwise, it can become crude and unacceptable. It's important to differentiate real wisdom from cunning or shrewdness, which some use merely for personal gain. Living with sincerity is the highest form of wise living. 32. 360-degree performance, achieving complete and thoughtful excellence. 360 degrees represent a full circle, symbolizing a comprehensive and flawless approach to handling tasks and interacting with others. In our work lives, we encounter many different kinds of people, each with their unique work attitudes. Some are hardworking and aim high, some are relaxed, and others may be negligent, just getting by to finish tasks. The attitude we adopt at work greatly influences our performance. While it's hard to say which attitude always leads to success, it's clear that successful individuals often share similar work ethics. In any workplace, people typically fall into one of three categories. 1. The negligent. These individuals might say, "Why work hard when everyone gets paid the same?" They are often late, ignore duties that aren't explicitly theirs, and never take the initiative to solve problems. They comfort themselves when others get promotions by thinking that promotions are rare, and most people are just like them. 2. The complainers. These people are often disappointed and pessimistic, always blaming others and believing that unfortunate events are caused by circumstances beyond their control. They might have potential, but their gloomy attitude prevents them from excelling and enjoying their work, and their negativity can affect others around them. 3. The proactive and ambitious. You can always see them busy at work. They are optimistic and enthusiastic, maintaining a positive spirit even during challenging times, and actively seeking solutions to problems. This positive attitude makes them beloved by colleagues and keeps their morale high no matter how busy they are. Over time, negligent individuals might be replaced by those who are more enthusiastic and dedicated. Complainers may remain unstable and fail to gain trust from leaders, limiting their opportunities for advancement. Meanwhile, proactive and ambitious workers are likely to succeed and find joy in their work. To be like the third type, we must strive to complete each task meticulously and thoroughly, no matter how small. We should manage relationships well, using sincerity and confidence to earn others' trust and understanding, ultimately achieving a state of ideal perfection. This requires maintaining an enthusiastic and honest heart, empathizing with others, and fostering cooperation, which are marks of wise behavior. Success never comes easy. Just as gold must be refined in intense heat to remove impurities, achieving success requires strict discipline and perseverance in cultivating our character and learning how to interact with others properly. By doing so, we can lead a fulfilling and perfectly rounded life. 33. Stay alert in prosperity. Stay calm in adversity. During prosperous times, it's crucial to stay alert, and in tough times, maintaining calm is essential. Both blessings and luck are our own creations. Nowadays, we're all busy with daily life, and few have time to reflect on their own lives. We all admire others' success and fortune, but rarely consider why those around us seem to continuously succeed. In reality, half of success comes from luck, and the other half from the relentless effort and persistence of each individual. There's an old saying, "Know both yourself and your adversary, and you will never be defeated." By always doing your best, you can bring happiness to yourself. Here are 2 rules many successful people remember. 1. Never be complacent about your success. Everyone should always be prepared for any danger. Hard work doesn't guarantee a lifetime of ease. We must always be vigilant and prudent, continually striving to excel in our work. When times are good, we need to innovate and seize opportunities to elevate our success further. Advancing your career doesn't mean stepping on others. You should rise on your own merits. In life, knowing when enough is vital. Too much greed often leads to more losses than gains. 2. Use reason to tackle problems. Life has its ups and downs with fortune and misfortune intertwined. The most important thing during hardships is to stay strong, never losing confidence or succumbing to life's storms. Blaming fate when faced with adversity only worsens things. By maintaining a strong spirit through life's fluctuations, you'll see that when one door closes, another opens. There is no obstacle too great to overcome as long as you believe in yourself and never give up on your future. Keep a steady mindset, and one day luck will smile on your efforts. For example, the life of Chu Thoy Keen can be described by his major ups and downs. He rose from dark depths to achieve great success, earning much admiration. He shared, "When facing failure, don't view it negatively. Approach problems more positively. You must remain calm, though it's not always easy. The more discouraged you are, the harder it is to stand strong. Don't worry too much about what others think. Just believe that tomorrow will be better than today, and that's enough." Stay alert in prosperous times. Remain calm in difficult times. Blessings and luck are made by us. As long as we truly understand the meaning of life, we can lead a happy life. 34. Being too smart can sometimes backfire. Rushing can lead to missteps, so don't let your smarts lead you to failure later on. If you're familiar with Japanese cuisine, especially sushi, you might know Jiro Ono, who is renowned as a sushi master and owner of the Michelin 3-starred restaurant Sukiyabashi Jiro. He once revealed that one secret to his world-class sushi is the quality of the rice. It's said that to maintain the best quality, he uses 3 different types of water, one for soaking the rice, another for rinsing it, and a third for cooking. In a pot of sushi rice, he never allows more than 4 grains of subpar quality. People asked, would diners really notice if there were more than 4? Jiro Ono replied, "No, only I would notice." They immediately said, "If the diners can't tell, why bother? You're being foolish." Jiro Ono shook his head, disagreeing with this viewpoint. Only clever businessmen want to cut corners to gain benefits as quickly as possible, but he just wants to be a sushi chef. In this world, many people think they are smart, but how many are foolishly persistent in sticking to their principles like Jiro Ono? Everyone wants quick profits and looks for shortcuts, forgetting that moving too fast can lead to a fall. 35. Sometimes being a bit simple is better than being smart. There was a top student who graduated from college and changed jobs 6 times within a year. Every few months, people would hear that he was about to try out a new company because he found the previous jobs too boring and unchallenging, fearing he might miss out on future opportunities. His close friend advised him to slowly gain work experience first, but he didn't listen and even scorned his friend. Simpleton, taking your time like that is just a waste of time. As time went on, he continued to search for his dream job without success. Gradually, he realized that his peers had gained significant experience in their fields, while he still had none. When others had become proficient and could handle any issue professionally, he was still struggling through numerous new employee training programs everywhere. People who consider themselves smart but lack experience often forget that sustainable development is more important than rapid advancement. Don't let your intelligence be your downfall. 36. Slow and steady wins the race. Some people believe that in today's competitive and cutthroat society, where everyone is vying for every little thing, ignorance only leads to a loss of survival skills and self-defense. If you don't learn to be smart, you'll eventually become a stepping stone for someone else's success. As a result, Everyone uses their intellectual resources to fiercely compete. Some achieve quick success and feel elated, only to soon fall back down. However, those who may not be very clever but consistently work hard and advance step by step often end up being the last ones laughing. While working at Tencent, Zhang Xiaolong, the creator of the WeChat app, was primarily responsible for managing QQ Mail, a Chinese chat software. He required each product manager to collect 1,000 user feedback responses and conduct at least 10 large-scale surveys each month to explore ways to improve service quality. Zhang Xiaolong and the WeChat app faced a lot of opposition because many thought he could simply learn from changes made by other similar apps, rather than wasting manpower on this task. In response, Zhang Xiaolong simply said, "It's not about design, it's about solving problems." Qmail didn't need a unique design style, but had to ensure it understood customer preferences to maximize user convenience. This approach quickly led QQ to become the top app in the country within just 4 years. Later, Zhang Xiaolong launched WeChat, which now has over 1 billion users and generates millions in commercial value. Ads on the app could make tens of millions, but he never turned WeChat into an advertising tool. A product that wants to last must not rush for profit. Some may think his approach is foolish, but for Zhang Xiaolong, the most foolish path is to serve users from a business perspective instead of from the user's perspective. When smart people face a problem, they see many different paths and often choose the shortest one. However, when they encounter difficulties, they quickly switch to another path. On the other hand, the so-called foolish ones stick to their path, overcoming hardships and dangers step by step, slowly but surely moving forward. In the end, the wisest are those who have grown the most on their journey. 37. 10 Principles to Understand the Wealth Gap. Before age 35. Losing sight of your goals means losing your direction. Therefore, it's important to clearly define who you are and what your goals are. Your life, whether rich or poor, flourishing, or just a faint spot in a noisy crowd, stems from your attitude. If you follow these 10 pieces of advice, you're likely to have a stable career and a bright future. 1. Set goals for yourself. 19th century German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "Losing sight of your goals means losing your direction. So, you should clearly define who you are and what you aim for. Then, do your best to improve yourself. Don't settle for just getting by in life. Focus on achieving specific goals, not just receiving ordinary praise from others. To make progress, realize that you need to change something about yourself. This way, others will see you as a serious, purpose-driven person." T.S. Eliot, an American poet, once told us, "Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go." Similarly, writer Washington Irving said, "Great minds have purposes, others have wishes." 2. Believe in yourself. How you see yourself reflects what others believe you can do based on your abilities. Trust in your capabilities. Know that every problem has a solution. Always believe in yourself. Don't wait for others to solve problems for you. Challenging yourself will lead to more progress than just competing with others. You need to be motivated to work. Be passionate about the bright future ahead. Start things for yourself and be prepared to endure future challenges. Don't be distracted by fear of criticism, rejection, or failure. Don't hesitate to care about many things. Chuck Norris, a military figure and TV star, said, "Always remember that your success starts from within. If you can't see it, no one else will." 3. Prioritize. Identify what is most beneficial for you and focus on achieving it no matter how challenging it may be. Aim for results. Be the most effective time manager. Balance physical, mental, and spiritual activities. Don't automatically say yes to everything and everyone. A Portuguese saying goes, many plan, few execute. 4. Understand issues and be patient. Working means erasing frustration, anger, impatience, selfishness, ignorance, laziness, jealousy, hatred, and negative thoughts from your life. It's also about freeing yourself from personal prejudices. Respect others' rights. Remind yourself not to engage in conflicts unnecessarily. Don't waste time believing you are better than others. This will quickly make you forget others' faults and the things they fail to do. Working will help you build and promote mutual understanding with others. Over a century ago, William Jennings Bryan, a 3-time presidential candidate and orator, said, "Never be afraid to stand with the minority when the minority is right, because one day the minority will become the majority. But be afraid to stand with the majority when the majority is wrong, because one day the majority will become the minority." 5. Always maintain a positive attitude. Understand that a bright future is something you create. Be proud of even small changes because these are the steps that lead to big successes. Accept life's troubles realistically, but choose to tackle them with a positive attitude and right approach. Control how you react. Listen to your conscience. Even without guarantees, pursue what you desire. Your life reflects your beliefs and words. Enjoy life. Learn from books and films. Believe in yourself. Don't let doubt destroy your dreams. Embrace challenges as you grow and learn new things. Welcome each new day with energy. Gandhi taught his students, "If I believe I cannot do something, it makes me incapable. But if I believe I can, I acquire the ability to do it even if I didn't have it at the beginning." Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw also noted, "A person who knows their own mind and understands their abilities will defeat 10 who don't." 6. Always seek to learn. An African proverb says, "Not knowing is bad, not wanting to know is worse." You can learn anything. Seek advice from others and listen to it. Be curious about everything and eager to learn more. Think broadly, as life then becomes a marvelous exploration. You'll find new opportunities to learn. Never claim you can't do something without thoroughly exploring it. Schools, courses, debates, lectures, websites, books, videos, and magazines are all opportunities to gain knowledge. A clever person can outsmart a stronger one, so keep asking questions. Don't fear the truth or admitting, "I don't know." 19th century British Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli emphasized, "A fool wonders, a wise man asks." Roman writer Publilius Cyrus shared a similar thought. "Many receive advice, only the wise profit from it." He added, "A wise man corrects his own errors by observing those of others." 7. Seek support from others. Walt Disney once said, "Admit your ignorance openly, and you'll see who is willing to enlighten you." When helping others, don't be too proud, as you may need their help later. Be strong as if you were alone, and you'll realize you're not. Being lovable will make you beloved. Being inquisitive will draw others to help you. If you're kind, more will want to work for you and befriend you. If you're spiritual, place your trust in God. Benjamin Franklin, an American statesman, stressed, "He that cannot be counseled cannot be helped." 8. Acknowledge your fears and weaknesses. Nobody is perfect and everyone has their own fears. It's okay to be strict with yourself. By frankly admitting your weaknesses, you are halfway to correcting them. Face your fears, and in doing so, you forge a good character. You'll face many dangers if you want to experience life fully. Don't hesitate to say, "I'm sorry, I was wrong." T.S. Eliot said, "Half the harm that is done in this world is due to people wanting to feel important." 9. Learn from your mistakes. The difference between successful people and others isn't whether they make mistakes, but how they handle them. Thinking you should never err is a major mistake. Don't be resentful if things don't go as planned. Figure out what went wrong and what you can do differently. Develop new strategies and plans and try again. Remember your past successes. Mistakes are just occasional missteps. Rise above your own errors. Winston Churchill wasn't afraid to admit, "Understanding all I say could never stop me from understanding my problems." 10. Pursue high standards. Identify your best qualities and strive to reach your highest potential. Be proud of your integrity, honesty, and belief in fairness. Remember, lying only leads to more lies. Commit to doing your best as it benefits everyone you meet and work with. Never abandon your core principles and standards. American author Helen Keller, despite being blind and deaf, inspiringly stated, "Many people have a wrong idea of what constitutes true happiness. It is not attained through self-gratification, but through fidelity to a worthy purpose." 38. To achieve great things, it's important first to know how to communicate effectively. Language reflects a person's perception and thinking, so controlling your speech is crucial for gaining respect from others. In public places like streets or buses, we often hear people using coarse or offensive language. To demonstrate whether one is educated and well-mannered, consider these 6 important issues. 1. Avoid discussing personal secrets of others. It's easy to get into trouble by talking carelessly. For example, discussing someone's private matters can make them fear that their secrets will be exposed. This might lead the person to resent you if they think you are revealing their secrets. Thus, it's best to steer clear of discussing other people's private information. 2. Do not point out others' hidden intentions. Sometimes people have their own agendas that they wish to keep hidden. If you're close to someone, they might suspect that you are aware of their motives, which can lead to jealousy or distrust. In such cases, it's often wisest to act as if you are unaware of these intentions to avoid awkward situations. 3. Refrain from revealing secrets of others. Being trusted with someone's plans can be a sign of their trust in you, but it also places you in a delicate position. Even if you keep a secret, there's a risk it could be exposed by others, putting you in a difficult spot. In such a scenario, it's important to maintain closeness with the person, show your integrity, and try to find out who may have leaked the information. 4. Giving unwanted opinions. People don't know you very well and might not trust you. If you try too hard to win them over with overly friendly comments and then fail to deliver as expected, they might suspect you're just playing games or tricking them. Even if the outcome is good, it doesn't guarantee they'll like you more because they might think you just got lucky, not that you really put in the effort. So, it's often better to keep your opinions to yourself. 5. Pointing out others' mistakes. You're aware of someone's mistakes and think they're significant, so you don't hesitate to give them advice. However, people often feel guilty about their mistakes and fear others finding out. They can be embarrassed and even resent you for exposing their faults, which can lead to conflicts. Therefore, it's best to stay silent or, if you must give advice, do so gently and tactfully. 6. Forcing others to do what they dislike or cannot do. Sometimes, you may push people to do things beyond their capabilities. For example, if someone is already in a difficult situation, like having drawn the bow to shoot or sitting on a tiger's back, telling them to stop halfway can make things worse. Forcing people into actions they dislike or cannot manage is not considerate. Instead, it's more humane to advise them so they can realize and decide on their own whether to continue or stop. If they don't want your advice, it's better to wait for another opportunity. Forcing issues can harm relationships. 39. The birdcage effect. Psychologist James and physicist Carlson are good friends. One day, James told Carlson, "I will make you end up keeping a bird." Carlson listened, but didn't really pay attention to James's words at the time. Within a few days, James gave Carlson a beautifully crafted birdcage as a gift. Soon after, Carlson noticed something odd. Whenever friends visited his house and saw the birdcage, they almost always asked him where the bird was. Initially, Carlson simply repeated to his friends that he had never kept a bird and that the cage was a gift from someone else. However, the same questions kept coming, which started to annoy him. Finally, one day, Carlson went to a store, bought a bird, and put it in the cage. This is what we call the birdcage effect. The birdcage effect describes a situation where people, if they accidentally acquire something they originally didn't need, will intentionally or subconsciously continue to acquire more unnecessary items to avoid waste or for other reasons. A characteristic of the birdcage effect is the psychological impact it can have on our behavior. We can use this to help develop good habits. For example, to foster a reading habit, buy a book and place it where it's visible to many. Eventually, you will often be asked if you have read it or how it is, and one day you'll sit down and start reading the book. 40. JIDELIM'S law and problem solving. There's a famous principle in management science known as JIDELIM'S law. Only when you recognize a problem can it truly be solved. Here's a popular story from America. One day, Ford asked Steinmetz to fix an electrical engine that had broken down. The malfunction had halted the entire car production line, and despite several engineers trying, none could fix it. Steinmetz took his time observing the engine and tinkering around for a while. He then marked a spot and said, "It's missing a coil here." After replacing the coil, the engine worked again. The manager, pleased, asked Steinmetz how much the repair would cost, and Steinmetz replied, $10,000. Over 100 years ago, top engineers at Ford were paid just $5 a month. Seeing the manager's shocked face, Steinmetz explained with a note, "Drawing one line, $1. Knowing where to draw it, $9,999. Later, not only did Ford agree to the fee, but he also hired Steinmetz at a high salary. In reality, every engineer knew the engine needed 20 coils, but only Steinmetz knew one was missing. Often, when we see others solve problems easily, we think we could do the same. But why aren't you the one receiving the accolades? Albert Einstein answered this. Because solving a problem often just involves some algorithms or experience, but identifying the problem is much more difficult and important. True intelligence isn't about being the first to act, but being the quickest to identify the problem. 41. Falkland's Law. Wait and seize the opportunity. French economist Falkland once said, "When you're unsure of how to act, it's best to stand still and not make any decisions. You never know if what comes next will be an opportunity or a trap." In 1973, an economic crisis erupted, causing consumer spending to stagnate. During this time, many Thai brands cut back on production and lowered prices. Many speculated that Gold Lion, a renowned men's fashion brand, would follow suit, yet there was no sign of any action. As people grew anxious, the founder of the brand chose not to make any changes and quietly observed. He noticed a decrease in variety and color in products, and even the retail spaces at counters reduced. Seizing this opportunity, he rented a counter at a low price and produced a more diverse range of products. When the economy eventually recovered, Gold Lion quickly gained a competitive edge in the market. Sociologist Andy J. Sklivis once said, "Patience pays off. A windmill never chases the wind. Life is like a windmill, and the wind is your asset. Often the wisdom of intelligent people lies in their ability to wait for the right moment and seize opportunities. 42. The power of a good first impression. The power of a good first impression, also known as the first impression effect, is significant. If someone makes a positive impression during their first interaction, others are more likely to want to connect with them. This initial goodwill can also positively influence future interactions. Although this effect is widely known and often discussed, it encompasses a wealth of psychological principles. Essentially, we all have a tendency to categorize and organize the people and things we encounter. Put simply, we label them. When we receive information, a cognitive framework forms in our minds. Later, information is integrated into this framework and is difficult to change. Understanding and utilizing the first impression effect is crucial in social interactions. If you can master it, you'll be able to build successful relationships in both your career and personal life. 43. The law of listening. More. A philosopher once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen more and talk less." There's a story about a small country that presented 3 gold statues to the Emperor of China. These statues looked very similar in appearance and weight and came with a note saying one of them was the most valuable. But which one was it? Many of the emperor's advisors were stumped until an old sage stepped forward. He put a string through the ears of each statue. In the first statue, the string went in one ear and came out the other. In the second, the string went in the ear and came out the mouth. And in the third, the string dropped down to the stomach. The sage declared that the third statue was the most valuable. In fact, these 3 statues represent 3 types of people in the world. The first type, everything that goes in one ear comes out the other. These people really don't know how to listen. The second type speaks whatever they hear without thinking, talking much, but to no avail. The third type knows how to listen, but also keeps what they hear, understanding much, but speaking little, and always with measure. 44. Smart people. Use the 7 to 3 inches rule in interactions. In dealing with others, it's important to keep certain secrets hidden and not let everyone know. Whether it's pursuing goals, eating, or seeking happiness, moderation is usually enough. By applying the 7 to 3 inches rule, act with 70% commitment and keep a 30% buffer for yourself, ensuring long-term stability. Smart people know how to apply this principle in the following 5 aspects. 1. Interacting with people. Be 70% genuine, 30% cautious. Communication, especially at work, is inevitable. How we relate to friends or casual acquaintances is crucial to consider. Some think that in any relationship, as long as you are completely genuine, you don't need to worry about anything else. However, being too open can backfire if the other person doesn't have good intentions. To maintain relationships, it's smart to show most of your true self, but keep some back to protect yourself. If you are even more cautious, reversing the ratio to 30% genuine and 70% reserved is also acceptable. After all, you can't bare your soul to everyone, nor can you always engage wholeheartedly. Protecting oneself without harming others is always wise because nature does not bend to personal will. 2. Talking. Share 70% of the truth. Keep 30% to yourself. In interactions, it's wise to keep key secrets concealed. Some past events should remain buried and forgotten. Some say that true friends or lovers should share everything. But ask yourself, have you really shared all your deepest secrets? People often speak too much and make mistakes. The more you say, the more likely you are to offend someone or harm yourself. In such cases, remaining silent is often the wisest course of action. 3. Stepping outside. Maintain 70% composure, 30% mystery. Someone who behaves mysteriously and doesn't stand out too much is often thought to be formidable and avoids a lot of trouble. Conversely, if someone is not mysterious and is an open book, they are perceived as harmless and become an easy target for exploitation. Mystery is something everyone possesses. The more skilled a person, the better they are at applying this principle because they naturally prefer not to show off and know how to protect themselves by hiding their vulnerabilities. 4. Maintaining health. 70% exercise, 30% rest. Modern life has led people to pursue a high quality of life and longevity, thus exercising daily. Many believe that high-intensity workouts lead to a perfect body. This is a misconception. Life operates on principles of balance and moderation. Too much or too little of anything is not beneficial. Work hard and persistently on your fitness, but also make time to relax regularly. Otherwise, both your body and mind will reach their limits, potentially leading to negativity and illness all at once. 5. Dealing with life. Give 70% effort, take 30% as it comes. Everything is a matter of time and fate. We start cautiously and hope to end as well as possible. As long as you do your part, the rest should be taken as it comes. We ordinary people can decide our actions, but almost never the outcomes. If you give, you may not receive in return. If you work hard, you may not get the reward you deserve. Therefore, being mentally prepared to accept whatever comes is healthier than obsessing over desired outcomes. We can only control 70% of what happens. The rest is up to time. Like earning money, no one can guarantee wealth. We can only promise to do our best and live without regret. This embodies the nature of going with the flow. 45. Happy people avoid these 10 foolish things. No one can go back and start over, but everyone can start from now and build a new future. However, before you can make this change in your life, you need to let go of the things that are holding you back and are meaningless. 1. Don't waste time on the wrong people. Life is too short to spend your precious years with people who try to crush your happiness. If others really need you, they will make space for you. Sometimes, letting go is a better option than struggling to hold on. 2. Don't avoid problems, face and overcome them. Honestly, it's not easy at all. No one in the world can easily solve every tough situation. Everyone goes through frustration, sadness, pain, and disappointment over and over before solving a problem. 3. Don't lie to yourself. You might fool the whole world, but the one person you must never deceive is yourself. Life only improves when you take honest stock of your circumstances. 4. Don't neglect your own needs. The real pain is loving someone so much that you forget you deserve to be loved in return. Helping others is important, but so is helping yourself. If you've never pursued your passions, now is the time to start. 5. Don't fantasize about being someone you're not. Life's challenge is not to bury your true self and wish to be someone else. There will always be people who are prettier, smarter, or younger than you, but they are not you. Be yourself, and others will respect you for it. 6. Don't fear making mistakes. Be brave and try. Making mistakes is still better than doing nothing. Every success has faced the test of failure, and every failure can lead to success. Remember, regrets are usually about the things you didn't do, not the things you did. 7. Don't blame yourself for past mistakes. We might love the wrong person, cry over things that weren't worth it, but mistakes help us find the right person and do better next time. 8. Don't seek happiness from others. Many things we desire are expensive. But the things that truly satisfy us are free: love, laughter, and pursuing our passions. If you're not happy with yourself, you won't find long-term happiness no matter how much wealth or love you have. 9. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't worry about others doing better than you. Focus on improving a little each day and constantly overcoming your own challenges. Success is a battle with yourself, not with others. 10. Don't underestimate the beauty of small details. Appreciate the little things because one day you might look back and realize they were the big things. The best parts of your life are made up of small moments, like a smile you share with someone. 46. Avoid revealing these 3 things to keep life free from disasters. 1. Social relationships. In Chinese culture, there's a saying, "At home, rely on your parents. Outside, rely on your friends." Many people try to connect with everyone they meet, especially celebrities. They often boast about having a celebrity's phone number or taking pictures with them. CCTV editor Chung Guang once claimed to be friends with notable politicians like U.S. President Bill Clinton and former Japanese Prime Minister Naoto Kan. When he faced legal troubles in 2015, none of these close friends came to his aid. His fall from grace was a hard one. Dale Carnegie, an American writer, said, "One of life's most important lessons is to maximize your strengths and earn others' respect." Remember, people won't be fooled easily. If you don't offer something valuable, people won't connect with you genuinely. 2. Your own intelligence. Uncle Hi's promotion was met with silence from his colleagues. Despite his career success, he often bragged about his capabilities, which eventually alienated him at work. After being advised by an experienced friend, Uncle Hi realized that boasting was off-putting to others. He started to listen and praise his colleagues instead. Over time, this helped him to build stronger relationships at work. A saying goes, "If you want enemies, outshine others. If you want friends, let them shine." This means people feel important when they outshine you, but insecure and jealous if you outshine them. 3. Your own abilities. At a writer's meeting, a well-dressed author boasted about his many published novels. He approached a simply dressed middle-aged woman, not knowing she was Margaret Mitchell, the author of the classic novel Gone with the Wind. When he arrogantly asked if anyone had read her single novel, he was embarrassed by the chilly response and the laughter of others when they recognized her fame. How do you recognize a truly smart person? A smart person not only understands but also respects your views and beliefs. You feel comfortable around them. However, you may also notice they maintain a respectful distance, showing that they've always managed boundaries well. Remember, no matter how talented, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. People who continuously boast are often trying to compensate for their insecurities. True strength lies in humility and respect for others. Let's cultivate good qualities starting with humility. 47. The Prodigy of the Three Kingdoms. In Chinese history, Liu Bei, Sun Quan, and Cao Cao were the 3 major powers that formed the balance of power during the Three Kingdoms period. As a strong leader, Cao Cao knew that to compete for supremacy, he needed to gather many talented individuals to support him. Cao Cao was famously skilled at recognizing and utilizing talented people. Indeed, under his command were some of the strongest generals and strategists of the Three Kingdoms, such as Xun Yu, Guo Jia, Jia Shu, Dian Wei, and Xiahou Dun. However, historical records mention a young prodigy whom Cao Cao greatly admired. Initially, Cao Cao wanted to recruit this person and tried to entice him, but later he surprisingly attempted to assassinate this talented individual. Who was this prodigy, and what led Cao Cao to act this way? This prodigy was Zhu Baoji, a nephew of Liu Xian, an official under Liu Biao. According to the Kulishi website, Zhu Baoji, also known as Yuanji, was from Lingling, modern-day Hunan. Born into a prestigious family, Zhu showed exceptional intelligence from a young age. Later, he was entrusted to the scholar Liu Ba, a man so talented that even Zhuge Liang felt inferior to him. According to the Lingling Xiangxian biography, it didn't take long for Liu Ba to admit that he lacked the talent to teach Zhu Baoji. In 208, after Liu Biao died, Cao Cao took control of Jingzhou and recruited Liu Xian and Zhu Baoji. Due to his rare talents, Zhu quickly caught Cao Cao's attention. When Cao Cao was stuck on how to attack Liao's city, Zhu Baoji, only 14 years old, proposed 10 strategies that immediately helped Cao Wei overcome the obstacle. From then on, Cao Cao thought of using marriage to bond with Zhu Baoji. He proposed marrying his daughter to Baoji, but the talented young man flatly refused. Although Cao Cao was displeased, he still wanted Zhu Baoji to become a close friend of his son, Cao Chong. The relationship between the two was very good. However, Zhu Baoji's fate took a dangerous turn when Cao Chong unexpectedly died in 208. Cao Chong's death deeply saddened Cao Cao, who had secretly chosen him as his successor. At this point, Zhu Baoji became a thorn in Cao Cao's side. Cao Cao believed that a clever son like Cao Chong could have controlled Zhu, but sadly, Cao Chong died young. Therefore, Cao Cao planned to eliminate the uncontrollable prodigy. Cao Pi, upon learning this, quickly intervened. Cao Pi felt that Zhu Baoji was highly intelligent and skilled, and would definitely be a right-hand man for him in the future, so he tried to stop it. However, Cao Cao only said, "This person is not someone you can control." Zhu Baoji was talented, but only a rare genius like Cao Chong could have controlled him. Unlike Cao Chong, Cao Pi, though skilled, was far less intelligent and capable. Thus, Cao Cao believed that to ensure Cao Pi's succession, he had no choice but to eliminate this uncontrollable prodigy. After this rebuke, Cao Pi finally understood his father's intentions and the danger of facing a genius like Zhu Baoji, so he ceased pleading. By 209, Cao Cao had Zhu Baoji assassinated, marking the tragic end of the prodigious youth in the era of the Three Kingdoms. 48. 3. Worthwhile ways to live for a relaxed second half of life. As people reach middle age, every day becomes an opportunity to spend money. Earning money becomes a daily homework and a relentless duty. Many middle-aged people are so busy day after day that they end up exhausted, both in health and time. Some say it's better to live a life that's worthwhile rather than just chasing money. Indeed, looking at the most valuable life for a middle-aged person, it boils down to 3 things. 1. Value health. Keep your body able to create value. Arthur Schopenhauer, a German idealist philosopher, once said, "The greatest mistake a man can make is to sacrifice his health for any other advantage." Some say that having health doesn't mean having everything, but losing it means losing everything. Indeed, as life pressures mount in middle age, many people wear themselves out without realizing it. By the time they collapse, it's too late, and a day in the hospital can wipe out months of hard work. It's said, maintaining health isn't hard or time-consuming. It just requires a lifestyle change. As young people, we often think working hard to make money is building wealth. But as more people reach middle age, they realize that maintaining health is the real asset. In life, there are no ifs, only consequences and results. If you're still overworking to make money in the latter half of your life, it's time to wake up and adjust your lifestyle. This is also a way to love yourself in middle age. 2. Maintain relationships. Help your family thrive. When people reach middle age, fatigue becomes common. From work to family responsibilities, many are gradually drifting away from their relationships without realizing it. Running a family is like running a business. You need proper goals and a sincere attitude. Our ancestors weren't wrong when they said, "The biggest mistake we make daily is being too polite to strangers and too harsh with our loved ones." In the outside world, many people have successful careers but broken homes. Managing a marriage is never easier than managing a business. Understand and be more forgiving of the trivial things. Communicate more to resolve issues. These are essential secrets to maintaining harmony at home. In life, not everything has to be right or wrong. Ultimately, home is where we speak of love. If everything is calculated and blamed, it will only drive hearts apart. 3. Adjust your emotions. Keep an open heart. On Jihu, someone asked, "What's the ideal state after middle age?" One popular answer was, "The best state for people in middle age is to prioritize mindset over emotions." Kazuo Inamori, a Japanese business and life philosophy guru, said in A Way of Living that everything in life is attracted by the magnet in your heart, and illness is no exception. Therefore, you and longevity are just a healthy attitude apart. The most important thing for people reaching middle age is to learn to love themselves well. Age is never a barrier, and middle age does not mean decline. Nurturing a healthy body, managing a happy and harmonious family, and maintaining a calm state of mind are the greatest wealth in the second half of life. 49. The Three Fish Theory. Yumin Hong, a renowned educator from China, once shared a story in an article about his childhood observations of fishermen on the Yangtze River. He noticed that despite using large nets, the fishermen often caught 3 types of small-sized fish. He wondered why these fish got caught even though they could easily escape through the net. Upon asking around, he learned that these fish were known as the carp, the Chinese paddlefish, and the pufferfish. The first type, the carp, has a small head and a larger body. When it tries to swim through the net, its scales get caught. It could easily free itself by backing out a little, but it doesn't because it fears the pain of losing its scales, leading to its capture. The second type, the Chinese paddlefish, can easily navigate the small spaces in the net and wouldn't typically be trapped. However, being a timid fish, it panics and inadvertently gets tangled in the net when it tries to escape rapidly. The third type, the pufferfish, is known for its strong will and irritability. When caught in the net and unable to swim freely, it inflates its stomach in anger, becoming round and buoyant, making it easy for passing fishermen to pick it up. It turns out that what really kills these fish isn't their physical size but their habits. As Yumin Hong says, humans are similar to these 3 types of fish, often defeated by their own habits of thinking. Only by adjusting our thoughts can we gain an advantage when initially confronting challenges. Properly managing our thoughts is crucial in smoothly resolving difficulties. 1. Carp-like thinking. In the history of Italian literature, there was a young poet named Felice Cavarotti. Cavarotti was highly talented, and his poems were published in many local publications, receiving much praise. As his poetic skills matured, he felt capable of submitting his works to Italy's leading publisher, La Venezia. Therefore, he carefully selected a few favorite poems and sent them, but they were all rejected by Marcola, the chief editor at La Venezia, who suggested that some changes were necessary before publication. Friends advised him to revise the poems, as publishing with La Venezia would significantly benefit his career. However, Cavarotti, being somewhat proud, felt insulted and refused to compromise. He promptly replied to Marcola with a defiant letter. As a result, Cavarotti, a promising young poet, lost a significant opportunity over something trivial. Notice how Cavarotti's behavior mirrors that of the carp. When faced with dissatisfaction, neither ever yields, even slightly, and eventually, there's no choice left but to be caught. Ancient wisdom says, "The world is harsh, and knowing when to retreat at the right moment is a sign of wisdom." Facing insurmountable difficulties, stepping back to await a new turning point is also a wise resolution. Life requires flexibility. Advance when necessary to seize good opportunities, but also retreat timely to avoid extremes. It's foolish to rush in when you already foresee a desperate situation. Sometimes, yielding isn't cowardice but wisdom. When the path ahead is blocked, you can step back, and often you will encounter a new opportunity. 2. Chinese paddlefish thinking. A writer once said, "Living happily is not about forgetting your immediate troubles by running away, but rather facing them head-on by fighting with all your might." Someone who wants to retreat at the slightest danger is like a Chinese paddlefish. Even when they have the advantage, they can push themselves into even more perilous situations. Psychologist Li Songwei shared a real case study. Wang, a PhD student, had his graduation delayed by 2 years due to issues with his dissertation. Every time he sat in front of his computer, he was terrified of thinking about his thesis. To escape the pain of reality, he started spending more time playing computer games each day. Unexpectedly, 6 months later, he developed severe mental health issues. Upon learning of Wang's situation, Li Songwei didn't prescribe medication, but instead told him, "Do what you need to do." Encouraged by the doctor's advice, Wang began to grit his teeth and revisit his manuscript, thinking through and revising each word and section. More than 2 months later, he made significant breakthroughs in his research, and the mental problems that had tormented him for months disappeared. I once read a saying like this: "Deliberately avoiding what you fear, you'll eventually find that you're just taking a shortcut to meet it." When facing difficulties, instead of hiding, swim against the current, embrace the troubles, and deal with them as they arise. When Kazuo Inamori graduated from university, he joined a company on the verge of bankruptcy. The company was performing poorly, and he lived in a small dormitory with a cracked floor and fleas. Faced with a new research topic, his colleagues in the product development department were lazy and had no intention of working. Kazuo Inamori considered quitting his job. He wrote home about his plan to resign and apply to join the Navy. Unexpectedly, after his brother learned of this, instead of consoling him, his brother scolded him harshly. Facing such problems and not solving them, do you think you can do what you want somewhere else? Kazuo Inamori immediately realized his mistake and went back to the lab. He began researching from early morning to late evening, and no matter how hard or tiring it was, he never complained. Eventually, he quickly developed a new type of ceramic material that saved the company and was promoted to R&D director. In reality, each of us has 1 or 2 people we must face, and 2 or 3 situations that we cannot avoid even if we want to. Writer Ayn Rand believed that you can avoid reality, but you cannot avoid the consequences of avoiding reality. So, when things get tense and there's nowhere left to hide, face it head-on. When you are no longer afraid and no longer want to run away, you've already solved half of the problem. 3. Pufferfish thinking. Liang Qixi once said, "When angry, reason becomes unclear, and words and actions can exceed limits not suitable for others or oneself." You see, pufferfish are like that. When something happens, they get angry and inflate without realizing it, only to bring disaster upon themselves. This reminds me of a story about the writer Li Xiaoyi. When she was younger, she worked in advertising. Once, to plan for a client, Li Xiaoyi stayed up several nights in a row, striving to perfect the plan. After the client briefly reviewed the plan, they simply said, "Do it again." Faced with the client's pickiness, she became angry. Your demands are utterly unreasonable, and you are extremely unreasonable. Don't think just because you're the client you can do whatever you want. I'm done. As a result, the next day, her boss called her to the office and scolded her. After the incident spread, Li Xiaoyi's original clients asked for replacements, and her career plummeted. Author Hufflin once said, "Among all the negative influences in the world, uncontrolled anger has the most devastating impact." When a person is in a rage, their IQ effectively drops to zero. They are controlled by their anger, and ultimately, they suffer the consequences themselves. Only by controlling a quick temper and handling matters calmly can one effectively resolve conflicts and complete tasks. When Charlie Munger was young, he once had to fly to another location for a client meeting. However, as he passed through airport security, he was stopped because the detector beeped. Munger had to go through security again, but after 4 or 5 tries, the detector still beeped. Seeing he was about to miss his flight, his assistant became furious and tried to rush through. But Munger held back his secretary and smiled at the staff, saying, "All right, I'll try again." Over 10 minutes later, the staff discovered the detector was malfunctioning. By then, Munger's plane had taken off, and it was too late to book another flight. Despite the tight schedule, he remained patient and conversed cheerfully with the staff. The staff felt very guilty and quickly helped Munger book the next available flight through an internal channel. Ultimately, he arrived at his destination and successfully secured the collaboration with the client. Fools are those who are hot-tempered. The wise control their anger. Foolish people speak rashly when they encounter problems, while the wise manage their emotions first before addressing the issue. Everything in the world is complicated, and if you are overwhelmed by emotions, you will end up in chaos. Learning to control anger when something happens, stabilizing emotions, can help you master the situation. Sociologist Festinger said, 10% of life is made up of what happens to you, and 90% is decided by how you react to what happens. Often, what hinders you is not a lack of ability but incorrect thinking. The moment you stay calm in the face of difficulties, knowing when to be flexible and when to be firm, not avoiding problems, there will no longer be any obstacles that can stop you. 50. Learn from the farmer who regularly weeds out the undesirables. Just as different crops require different soil, people thrive in different environments. Only by finding the right place can you truly unlock your potential. Planting in spring and harvesting in autumn isn't just about farming. It's a metaphor for a successful life trajectory. A professor once said, "Farmers are among the smartest people, and farming is the best way to restore wisdom." Life, much like farming, requires careful attention to the climate, finding the right soil, and nurturing and waiting before you can reap a bountiful harvest. To achieve anything significant, you must find your niche, eliminate distractions, invest continually, endure a period of waiting, and then, eventually, see the fruits of your labor. If you want to be a true winner in life, you must adopt the farmer's mindset. 1. Find your field. Like different crops need different soils, people excel in different settings. Only when you find the right fit can you maximize your potential. The famous chef Julia Child loved writing from a young age and dreamed of becoming a writer. After graduating, her first job was writing advertisements for a furniture store. However, Julia soon realized she disliked the job. World War II broke out and she enlisted, joining the United States Office of Strategic Services, but her cheerful personality didn't fit the mundane and strict nature of her work. After the war, Julia moved to Paris with her husband. She was inspired by a delicious meal at a restaurant and started culinary training, finding true joy in cooking. Back home, Julia promoted the cuisine she learned across the country and became the first culinary star on a television show, also publishing a best-selling cookbook worldwide. A writer, Thuy Ngoc Nguyen, said, "A person's value depends on whether they can find their place. Everyone has unique strengths that are best utilized in the right environment." A master woodcarver was once asked how he made his sculptures look so lifelike. He replied, "On the contrary, I don't make anything resemble anything. It's just that way, and I carve accordingly. I simply follow nature." This applies to people as well. If you force yourself into a job you dislike and are not good at, even hard work won't yield good results. Only by pursuing a path that plays to your strengths can you truly realize your life's value. 2. Never stop striving. We know that plants thrive not just with sunlight but also need regular watering, fertilizing, and a host of other efforts. If you just plant seeds without caring for them, they likely won't yield anything. A good life also requires continual effort and careful management. A netizen shared her experience. After graduating, she joined a good company full of energy, proactive at work, and friendly with colleagues. But over time, she lost her enthusiasm. She began to procrastinate, often arriving late and leaving early, and gradually distanced herself from colleagues. 2 years later, the company had to downsize due to poor performance. In business assessments and internal votes, she was at the top of the layoff list. Later, she found a new job but no longer dared to be lazy, seizing any opportunity to study online. A writer once said, "A person's destiny is determined by their past and present actions." Today's cause decides tomorrow's effect. Don't crave idleness or laziness at any time. You'll never reap a bountiful harvest without hard work, let alone lead a life of ease forever. Blind laziness, just getting by day to day, will only lead to barrenness. By working hard continuously, we avoid wasting efforts and gaining nothing in return. 3. Regularly remove the weeds. Weeding is a crucial step in farming. If not removed, weeds steal nutrients and block sunlight from the crops. Similarly, human energy, like nutrients in the soil, can be depleted if spread too thin. By focusing on the most important tasks, we can ensure a bountiful harvest. Productivity expert Bosch Tracy once said, "People who do well focusing on one thing at a time generally do better than those who try to excel in multiple areas simultaneously." French painter Redoute began painting at 13. Initially unsure of his best genre, he experimented with portraits, religious scenes, and even stage design. His focus was too scattered to achieve significant success until he met botanist Blue Taylor. Under Taylor's guidance, Redoute honed in on botanical illustration, leading to great success. He was commissioned to illustrate Rousseau's Lettres élémentaires sur la botanique, and became the full-time court painter for the French royalty, producing the Rose Portfolio, which featured 169 species of roses and gained worldwide popularity. Writer MacGon once said, "A person who focuses on one thing can eventually achieve great accomplishments." Often, we work hard and stay busy, but lack of focus can lead to poor results. Truly, dedicating one's life to a single pursuit is fortunate. Once you have defined your goals, drop any distracting thoughts, keep moving forward without unnecessary entanglements, and make progress. 4. Wait for your own growing season. You reap what you sow, be it melons or beans. Plant in the spring and harvest in the fall. This is not only a farming rule but a life philosophy. If you invest the effort, you will see returns. Don't rush for quick success. Slow down and be patient, and you will enjoy the joy of a bountiful season. It's said, life is a marathon. Every step you take has value. Even sunlight takes 8 minutes to reach Earth, so give yourself time. Be patient. Every flower has its bloom time and its own maturity period. There's no need to feel discouraged or anxious just because others may start higher or progress faster. The winter plum is as beautiful as any other flower, each with its own blooming period. A poet once said, "Your job is to clear the land, not sit worrying about the timing. What you do in March and April will answer you in August and September." You just need to follow your own pace, step by step, consistently, and you will surely reap the rewards. Life is like plowing, one still step and half a success. Life, like farming, depends on the effort and sweat you invest. Even the most fertile land, if neglected, will become barren, and the most barren, if carefully tended, will eventually bloom and bear fruit. Planting in the spring and harvesting in the fall is not just a process of agriculture but a trajectory of success in life. If you still envy the achievements of others, now is the time to focus on your field. Cultivate it steadily and deeply, and patiently await the harvest season. 51. Silent happiness, modest success. Be joyful but not over the top, successful but not arrogant, happy but not boastful. This is truly the way of the wise. Chinese author Duongjiang believes, "Do not flaunt your happiness, do not expose your wealth, and do not showcase your success." The moral is, showing off means losing it. Keeping it hidden is the best way to preserve it. People often say, "Few hope you live well, but many are envious of your good life." It's not bad to share your happiness, but it should be done within limits to avoid problems. Sometimes just being happy by yourself is enough. There's no need to tell others about your joy. Learn to keep a low profile, hide your knowledge inside, avoid frivolous boasting, and don't fear competition. Life brings both bitterness and sweetness. You just need to know and walk your own path. How to be joyful and how to be happy is up to your own effort and choices. Others are just passing by, so don't worry too much. If you share your joy with the wrong person, it turns into a disaster, wasting time and inviting gossip. If you share your sorrows with the wrong person, sometimes it becomes a joke to them. Happiness is feeling joyful on your own. If you're forcing it, it's meaningless. Keep feeling fresh about the world, and being yourself is the way to truly enjoy happiness. Use a simple heart to record every joyful moment, which is totally different from showing off outwardly. Happiness will nourish your heart, not just the eyes of others. Indeed, successful people rarely boast. If they do show off, it's usually part of a longer strategy, like sacrificing the small fish to catch the big one. Experience teaches that modesty is the greatest form of bragging. You must believe that if you are truly excellent, you don't need to show off or use words to prove it. Others will naturally admire you. Bragging only brings momentary joy, but it often brings more envy, conflict, and even hurt to others. A common scenario is, after a year of hard work, you return home for the new year and boast to relatives and neighbors about your huge wealth and abilities. This may make you proud and honor your family, but inadvertently, it may hurt others. It could be a local youth of the same age who also works away from home but isn't as successful or wealthy. Hearing you talk might make them feel very down. It could be neighbors, upset that you are more successful than their children. This can lead to envy, grudges, and malicious gossip about your family. In truth, everyone has their own way of living, and no one can judge another. But if you lower your ego a bit and consider those around you, life becomes so much easier. Wise people know to keep to themselves and enjoy life more quietly and do what they love. Those who seek vanity go around bragging, but they don't realize that this habit might drive them away from happiness and wealth. Our ancestors often taught, "The ripe rice plants bow their heads, the wise know to be patient." Be joyful, but not over the top, successful, but not arrogant, happy, but not boastful. This is truly the way of the wise. 52. The more you chase money, the more it seems to slip away. In today's busy world, money is like an invisible dance, drawing countless people into an endless cycle, spinning without escape. However, Japanese billionaire Kazuo Inamori has shared the secret behind money through the perspective of someone who has spent a lifetime in business. This is not just a unique view on money, but also a deep insight into life philosophy. In this bustling world, we often lose ourselves in the pursuit of money and overlook the real values behind it. Money is indeed a necessary tool, a means that can help us solve problems. The accumulation of wealth is actually a response to what we have sacrificed and given to others and society. Money comes when we truly know how to help others and solve their problems. As the famous 20th century Chinese writer Bing Xin once said, "Love on the left, sympathy on the right, we walk on both sides of life, sowing seeds as fate allows, and as flowers bloom, they decorate this path with fragrant blossoms, so that even if walkers step on thorns, they feel no pain. Tears may fall, but they are not of sadness." This passage is not just about love, but also explains the value of life. When we truly give and bring warmth to others, our life's path naturally fills with flowers, and the fragrance of these flowers represents the fragrance of money. In development, you need to understand, if you want to get rich, first find a good job. Because behind money there is work, and behind work there are people. Only when you are a good person can your work be good, leading to success. And here, person not only refers to oneself, but also encompasses all aspects of life around us. For example, the interactions between people, our attitudes towards the world. These are the main factors that determine a person's fate. Bing Xin wrote in Talking About Life, "Not every river can flow into the sea. Without flow, it becomes a dead lake. Not every seed can become a tree. Without sprouting, it is a dead seed." In this world, miracles are rare, but peace is abundant, yet we often fail to appreciate it. Therefore, cherish every opportunity to interact with others and learn to face the world with a loving heart, as only then will the path of life broaden. We can look at Mr. Inamori's business life as a model. Throughout his business journey, he adhered to a management philosophy that valued human elements, proper conduct, and corporate character, with ethical standards and professionalism. His pioneering thoughts helped modernize Japan, based on the idea that the motivation behind workers and companies should be pure intentions, not greed, and ultimately a desire to serve society. Thanks to his talent and kindness, he led numerous businesses and employees to success over the decades, leading the Japanese market and earning the title of a business mogul. No one doesn't love money, but a gentleman has his do's and don'ts when earning money. Money doesn't come from thin air. It requires effort and a bit of luck, a chance. Hence, money can be considered a blessing, something that we must earn through kindness and giving value. If money truly is an enchanting dance, then dance in it with a calm spirit and enjoy it to the fullest. With help and human warmth, you will feel that life is still filled with miracles and love. On such a journey, we not only reap material rewards, but also fully experience the true meaning and beauty of life. 53. 4 lesser-known truths. If nobody has ever shared these 4 social insights with you, you might find yourself at a disadvantage in the outside world. 1. The adult world is built on self-interest. Don't be fooled by the harmonious scenes at dinner parties. They are just a show. Behind them are intellectual games you wouldn't expect. Often, people lose touch with longtime friends or acquaintances simply because they no longer share mutual benefits or social standings. Thus, life is like a survival game. Either you become strong or you get left behind when you're no longer useful. This principle also applies to couples, leading to inevitable distancing in relationships. 2. The more you can handle loneliness, the greater your achievements. Why is this said? As you mature, you realize everyone feels lonely. Ultimately, you can only truly rely on yourself. If you don't become strong, appeasing hundreds of others will be futile. A person who is very talented and solves problems smoothly, yet doesn't have many friends or join many groups isn't flawed. They are very clear about what they want. They no longer vibe with most people around them, so they can't connect deeply with many. Being alone isn't about hating the world. It's about being independent, intelligent, and selective. 3. Experience and knowledge matter more than formal education. If your child decides to drop out of school, don't just let them stay at home. Give them some money to go out into the world to gain experience and face setbacks. Why let them struggle? Because the scariest thing isn't lacking formal education. It's inaction, staying at home, and doing nothing. A life confined to just home, seldom stepping outside, is unlikely to lead to success. Often, a lack of success stems from being overly protected by parents. 4. You are yourself, independent of others. Many people are exhausted because they don't dare to be themselves and stand firm in their convictions. Stay away from those who hurt you. What they say has nothing to do with you, so why should you care? It's easy to be influenced by others through their words, looks, or actions. Remember, in every social class, truly high-class people often respect others. Middle-class people tend to compliment others, and lower-class people often trample on each other. In today's competitive society, even if you're a phoenix reborn, you will face negative stares and comments. But a phoenix remains a phoenix. Kings rule by using people. Subjects excel by handling tasks. Understanding human nature is the highest form of learning, continually cultivated by the wise to better know themselves and perceive the world. Intelligent people surround themselves with the scent of books and see their work as passion. In contrast, ordinary people are consumed by daily worries. This portrait vividly illustrates the difference between someone who understands human nature and societal mechanics and someone who is ignorant. By truly understanding human nature, we can better grasp behavioral norms and logical thinking of others, allowing for wiser integration into modern society. Whether it's relationships with clients, lovers, or relatives, this understanding enables effective management. I believe that a deep understanding of human nature means solving most of the world's problems. Whether it involves EQ or IQ, both need to be grounded in an understanding of human nature. If human nature is a road, then EQ and IQ are like trees along that road. Above are 4 honest faces of society, hopefully providing you with useful knowledge and a new perspective on the world, broadening your horizons for personal success. 54. 4 unusual rules that wealthy people follow. I haven't always been good with money. Growing up in an immigrant Chinese family with devoted but extremely frugal parents, coupon clipping and reusing Ziploc bags were just part of life. It wasn't until I started my career on Wall Street that I realized the ultra-wealthy care less about pinching pennies and more about investing and growing their wealth. By observing and learning from their habits, I made my first $1 million at the age of 27. Here are 4 uncommon rules that rich people follow, which most others do not. 1. Stop worrying about impressing everyone. Wealthy people focus their spending on buying assets, things that make money over time, rather than liabilities, things that cost money over time. For example, instead of buying a flashy Lamborghini that loses a third of its value as soon as you drive it, a truly wealthy person might buy a duplex for rental income. They don't care what you think of them. They're happy collecting rent from you. 2. Have an abundance mindset. Many people have a scarcity mindset, always feeling like they will never have enough money, that they must hoard every last penny. This mindset makes people very competitive with those in similar financial situations, fighting for resources instead of striving to move up. Wealthy people have an abundance mindset. Knowing they can cover their bills, they don't worry, which frees them to decide what they want to do with their time instead of just surviving. 3. Think long-term. Wealthy people understand that things sometimes take time and they are willing to wait. They are kings and queens of delayed gratification. For example, a wealthy person doesn't mind locking their money in a retirement account. They know they can't spend it now, but it hasn't disappeared. The longer they wait, the more they will have later. 4. Share, network, and support each other. Wealthy people like being the smartest or most fashionable in their group, the trendsetters. You might hear them say, "I've got this great tax person. You should work with them." "I found the best cocktail bar. You must try their martini." "I joined the most fabulous country club, and I'll sponsor you to join too." They realize that being open about their knowledge leads others to share more. It's a different form of currency, and it's why wealthy people like to promote their close friends. Their thinking is, "I might not be right for this job, but my friend is, and once she's in that position, she will be the most trusted person. Then, as soon as she's in a leadership role, I'm automatically part of that entire network." Indeed, they want to see their friends succeed, but it's also because they're thinking strategically and long-term, having the most trustworthy people work with them. Author Vivian Tu, former Wall Street trader, educator, podcast host, and founder of the financial fairness phenomenon, Your Rich BFF. 55. Dream less, stay grounded. As we enter middle age, we find ourselves with aging parents who need care, young children who need education, and increasing pressures from work and life. No matter how great the pressure, you cannot afford to constantly look for shortcuts and indulge in daydreams instead of taking practical actions. A story shared online by someone about their cousin illustrates this point well. When his cousin was younger, while most of his peers left the village to seek work elsewhere, he chose a different path. Believing that his family couldn't live well on the meager earnings from outside jobs, he decided to start his own business. He had many plans to make a lot of money, but wasn't ready to work hard. 2 years later, when those who left to work came back to build homes, his cousin still lived in a small, modest house. Sometimes he didn't even have enough money to treat his sick child and had to borrow from his parents for medical expenses. Yet he never reflected on his situation and took his parents' help for granted. To build relationships, he often invited friends to dine at upscale restaurants without caring about his own financial situation. At one point, farm tourism became very popular, and his wife suggested they invest in it. However, he refused, finding the work dirty and tiring. He continued to socialize, thinking he could make a fortune by building relationships. Thus, his cousin was lost in illusions, day after day, year after year, ultimately achieving nothing, while even the villagers who merely farmed managed to buy homes in town through their efforts. Being poor isn't scary, and moving slowly isn't a problem. But don't set overly ambitious goals and get lost in fantasies. After middle age, time becomes precious. Only by maintaining a practical mindset, setting realistic goals, and continuously working hard, while also cultivating your attitude and knowledge, can you reach your dreams. 56. Stop lecturing others. Instead, be humble and tolerant of diverse opinions. A writer once said, "As people reach middle age, they often become unintentional teachers. Despite efforts to restrain themselves, their conversations with others tend to steer towards past experiences that the others may not have lived through, just to showcase their own expertise. After middle age, we've accumulated certain experiences and realized some truths, so we tend to guide others using our experiences. However, what we often forget is that our experiences may not be applicable to everyone. Respecting differences is the key to wise communication." When Zheng Guofan, a renowned Chinese scholar, first arrived in the capital to take office, he often wrote admonishing letters home because he was worried about his younger brothers at home. When he realized his brothers were all eager for career success, after hearing their concerns, Zheng Guofan wrote back, "Success or failure is determined by fate. No one with ambition fails to achieve a career. Focus on personal development now, rather than worrying too much about the future." His sixth brother experienced failure in his exams and constantly complained. When Zheng Guofan found out, instead of comforting him based on his own experiences, he advised, "Failing an exam is a minor issue. If you can't handle this, what can you achieve later? Ambition leads to a path." Zheng Guofan always taught his brothers from his own perspective, never considering their actual needs. Zheng Guofan's wife also advised him not to always think he was right, but to pay attention to how he educated his brothers. However, Zheng Guofan did not heed the advice, and things remained the same. Eventually, on the 15th day of the first lunar month that year, his brothers collectively wrote back to Zheng Guofan saying, "You are good at instructing others, but your methods do not provide practical help to us." After receiving the letter from his brothers, Zheng Guofan deeply regretted his actions and began to reflect on himself. Since then, he has given up his determination to instruct others and has become more open to other people's opinions. There's a saying, "Don't interfere too much in the lives of others even if it's really good for them because it's their life." On the road of life, everyone has different paths and needs. Even if you genuinely want to help others, no one likes being preached to. After middle age, we must realize that truly considering others doesn't mean becoming a teacher or lecturing them, because your limited experience cannot fully support someone else's life. If you are capable, it's better to offer more practical help, restrain the desire to teach, and learn to be humble. No matter what age, always maintain a progressive attitude, as that will earn you respect from others unconditionally. 57. It's good to help others, but it should be done with moderation. Being kind without boundaries is often seen as weakness. Not everyone appreciates goodwill, so it's important to be kind but also shrewd. A story shared by a netizen named Hoa illustrates this point. Hoa was a middle manager in a company with a high salary and a promising future. She was in charge of the company's supply chain and directly responsible for sales. Any mistakes could cause significant financial losses for the company. Once, an employee in Hoa's department made a costly pricing error, resulting in a substantial financial loss for the company. After the department head investigated, the employee explained her difficult family situation to Hoa. "My in-laws are always on medication. My child needs to go to school, and my husband earns only a basic salary because his company is struggling." Feeling pity, Hoa told the department head that the error was her responsibility, offering to take full accountability and accept a bonus reduction. As a result, the employee was not punished under Hoa's protection. Later, the employee asked Hoa for a raise due to her family's financial struggles and heavy workload. Hoa, again feeling sympathetic, recommended her to the director. It seemed like the matter was resolved. But months later, higher-ups demanded a strict investigation. Hoa then asked the employee to come forward and explain the situation clearly. Instead of admitting her mistakes, the employee blamed Hoa, insisting she was at fault. There's a saying that goes, "Kindness is only perceived as such when both parties feel the same way." The Godfather mentions, "Being naive and without boundaries only allows others to take advantage of you. Kindness without principles will also lead to others pushing you further." As we reach middle age, we should understand that kindness needs moderation. If you are blindly kind and soft-hearted, you are only encouraging others' greed, ultimately harming yourself. When dealing with others' requests, firmly decline those you should and help those you can within your means. This is your responsibility to yourself. Kazuo Inamori once said, "Life is not a feast of material things but a cultivation of the soul, which makes the end more noble than the beginning." Life is a journey of cultivation, and in the latter half, it is most important to have a clear mind and stable emotions, avoiding certain behaviors. Don't be overly idealistic. Instead, be realistic, serious, and diligent. Stop lecturing others. Learn to be humble and polite. Don't be weak. Only help others within your capabilities. Life is short. Learn to be wise. Do the right things, and be cautious with the wrong ones. Let's all strive for a better life. 58. Take one step back in these three situations. We have all heard a lot of wisdom and gone through many hardships, yet our lives hardly seem to improve. Upon reflection, it becomes apparent that the mistake lies in always moving forward without considering stepping back. People often dislike resting and always push themselves to keep moving forward. Sometimes this pushes them to the brink without even realizing it. In contrast, wise individuals are always a step ahead, not because they move faster, but because they recognize the right moments to step back. Life is long, and it is wise to learn from such people. The best opportunities are not always ahead. Sometimes they are behind us. Knowing when to step back can lead you to success. 1. Constantly pushing forward can corner you. I belong to the 70s generation and grew up in a poor family. Thus, I aimed early to live a life where I could enjoy good food and nice clothes. After years of hard work, not only did I achieve these goals, but I also bought a house in the countryside. Although my job was not very stable, hard work ensured that I was never in want. One day I realized many of my peers had already achieved a wealthy lifestyle, which made me feel ashamed. So I decided to continuously push myself to become wealthy. Unfortunately, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stand out at work. My other investments were stuck, and sometimes I faced significant losses. One day, I came across a saying that woke me up. You will never earn more than what you can envision. It turned out that my abilities did not match my ambitions, and I always felt exhausted. The higher your expectations for yourself and your loved ones, the more disappointment and exhaustion you will feel. Many people are like me. Although their lives are complete, they still feel dissatisfied. An old saying goes, "The stronger the bow, the sooner it breaks." When we push forward to a certain extent, and as we reach our 50s or 60s, we hit a ceiling in our careers. Finding new jobs becomes harder, and maintaining a current position is not easy. Soon, retirement age comes. Even if you are reluctant, you must retire. Even if you try to find work in old age, you'll only make a little money. Rushed business investments are likely to fail, costing you your retirement savings. It's true that there are successful stories of people flourishing in their later years, but such people are few. You don't necessarily have to be one of them. In ancient times, King Zhuang of Chu inherited the weakened state of Chu during the Warring States period. He refused to admit defeat and thought of himself as a monarch, borrowing money from nobles and neighboring states, mortgaging his lands to the state of Qin. When he had money, he built a luxurious palace and enjoyed a lavish lifestyle. Once, when creditors came calling, King Zhuang had to hide under a table because he had no money to pay them back, leading to the popular saying, "Debt like the crouching lord." There is an old saying, "A wise man adapts to circumstances." When there is nowhere else to go, and you stubbornly push forward, you might find yourself heading into a dead end or falling into traps that could have been avoided. 2. Step back for a wider horizon. As stated in the Tao Te Ching, the brave may perish because of their bravery, and the timid survive by avoiding risks. People who are too rigid are like dry twigs, easily broken. The wise, however, are humble. They smile and bow their heads. This humility allows them to soften and adapt to different environments and people, leading to a peaceful life. Therefore, depending on the flow of life and changing circumstances, it's wise to choose the right moment to step back. Firstly, when victorious, do not pursue to the bitter end. Knowing when to step back can ensure your safety. Many people, upon winning, like to press their advantage, filled with pride, which leads to ruthlessly eliminating their opponents. However, it's important to remember that victory already exhausts much energy, and what's needed then is rest and recuperation. During the Northern Song dynasty, General Di Qing stationed in Jingyuan often clashed with enemies at the border. Once, after defeating the enemy forces, his soldiers wanted to pursue them, but he ordered a retreat. He said, "What if the enemy suddenly stops and fights back? What if they are just pretending to retreat?" His words enlightened the troops. The court officials praised Di Qing highly. Seeing an advantage but being able to restrain oneself is a mark of his distinction. If you've gained what you wanted, do not be greedy. That is what makes one wise. Secondly, when situations are chaotic, don't get involved. Quietly stepping away is the best way to protect yourself. If you find yourself surrounded by troublemakers and problematic situations, it's not wise to try to persuade anyone or get involved. A wise person knows to quietly walk away. If many wise individuals withdraw from a chaotic place, that place will gradually become calm and the situation will change. So, the advice is simple. Step back, avoid petty disputes, and conserve your energy. Thirdly, when you reach the peak, don't sit there too long. Learn to step down proactively. A mountain cannot house two tigers. While this is a well-known principle, everyone wants to stay at the peak forever, unwilling to step down. Waiting until someone else forces you down leads to both anger and embarrassment. The wheel of fortune turns. Having enjoyed good fortune for a while is sufficient. By stepping back voluntarily, others will see your magnanimity. As the saying goes, to advance, consider stepping back. To hold on, one must learn to let go. Sometimes, stepping back can facilitate future progress. 59. As you age, don't cling to these 4 things. Wise people understand and let go. Just be satisfied with each passing day, believing that no one cares how long you might live. The more you hope, the more you may be disappointed. Aiming high can lead to painful falls. This is a common understanding, yet few manage to avoid this dangerous trap. Looking back on the hopes of youth as you grow older, you might find that some were unrealistic. The best approach is to let them go for a peaceful life. To enjoy your old age, avoid clinging to these 4 types of expectations. Otherwise, your final years will be filled with regrets and suffering. 1. Don't believe the more children, the more blessings. Children are a source of happiness and pride for parents. When they're young, you might have many expectations for them, but as they grow and you age, you just hope for their happiness and find contentment in that. However, each person has their own life, and you can't ensure they will be with you forever. Don't think that having many children equates to more blessings. With more family members, conflicts are more likely to arise. So, enjoy what you have. In old age, having children by your side is fortunate, but don't burden them with unrealistic expectations. Ultimately, any suffering is yours alone. 2. Don't focus too much on having a big house for a comfortable old age. A home is a place of comfort and security. In youth, many strive to buy homes and cars, aiming simply to have shelter from the elements and a place to rest after a day's work. However, some obsess over living their old age in a grand home at the expense of their health, only to realize upon their final days that they can't take anything with them. Sometimes, lowering your standards is the smart way to live. At a certain age, you'll realize that having a simple place to call home is a great happiness after retirement. 3. Don't chase after a long and perfect life. In reality, as a person loses health, happiness also fades. This is especially true for the elderly who are bedridden without children to care for them. Just be content with each day, believing that no one cares how long you might live. While everyone may desire longevity, accept the natural cycle of life and death. Don't torment yourself with the thought of trying every means to prolong life. By holding on to this desire, you won't find peace. 4. Don't easily choose to retire to the countryside. The saying, "fallen leaves return to their roots," resonates with many elderly, especially those from rural backgrounds who cherish their simple, loving childhoods. Living in the countryside, blending with nature and being content with little is enough for an elderly person with limited energy. However, those who have been away for many years might find returning suddenly after so long to be inconvenient. Poor transportation, decreased living standards, old homes needing repairs, new homes requiring investment, all sorts of hassles await. Of course, you might still choose this way to enjoy your later years, but make the decision carefully and prepare thoroughly. Life in the countryside might be far different from what you imagine. 60. Title: 8 Communication Don'ts for Emotionally Intelligent People. People with high emotional intelligence, EQ, are adept at recognizing and accepting not only their own emotions but also those of others. This ability helps them connect and engage with people effectively. Harvey Deutschendorf, author of the book Emotional Intelligence Game Changers, 101 Ways to Win at Life and Work, has spent 20 years studying the habits of emotionally intelligent individuals. He suggests that if you want to develop meaningful relationships and avoid toxic ones, you need to communicate effectively and understand body language. Here are 8 things that high EQ individuals never do when communicating. 1. Don't focus solely on themselves. Everyone appreciates recognition of their abilities and achievements. So when someone accomplishes something, no matter how small, always acknowledge it positively. 2. Don't impose their opinions on others. Arguing or forcing your opinion on others can make them defensive, which is counterproductive to a positive conversation. Instead, let them feel in control by expressing themselves while you actively listen. 3. Don't say, "That's not my responsibility." People with high EQ never refuse to help others if it's within their capability. They are always ready to share their time and knowledge, viewing their role as part of a larger collective, and often look for ways to contribute to their organization. 4. Don't waste time with negative people. Those with high EQ prefer to spend time with positive thinkers who share similar goals and aspirations. They support each other and celebrate each other's achievements while minimizing interactions with consistently negative individuals. 5. Don't let themselves get distracted. Have you ever spoken to someone who wasn't paying attention, constantly checking their watch or looking around? High EQ people make it clear they are listening attentively by maintaining eye contact and engaging warmly. 6. Don't forget the little details. When meeting someone for the first time, high EQ individuals often repeat and reference the person's name throughout the conversation. This leaves a strong impression. As relationships deepen, remembering and acknowledging important dates like birthdays or anniversaries with a card or call can enhance connections. 7. Don't partake in hurtful jokes. If words or actions might upset someone during a conversation, it's best not to say them. High EQ individuals avoid hurtful jokes as these can dampen the spirit of communication and make interactions uncomfortable. 8. Don't overwhelm with too much information. Emotionally intelligent people strive to listen and understand the situations others are facing. They ask questions that allow others to share more, which helps in understanding and empathizing with their emotions. This approach makes conversations more meaningful and engaging. 61. Master one trade before dreaming of riches. Trying to do too many things at once may seem efficient, but it isn't in reality. Spreading your energy thin across various tasks leads to superficial engagement and shallow thoughts, essentially exposing your weaknesses to others, which ultimately results in negative consequences. Wise people often make sense in one way or another. Charlie Munger is one such sage. Since 1987, Munger has consistently spoken at shareholder meetings, candidly addressing their queries. His responses are always sharp, wise, and thought-provoking. Focus, self-discipline, and finding like-minded people. At the Daily Journal's 2015 shareholder meeting, shareholders asked Munger about how to focus, the secrets and habits of success, methods for reading, and whether there's a way to organize notes. Charlie Munger: I was born with the ability to focus. When I need to focus on studying or doing something, I can shut out everything else, even not noticing other people around. I can tell you that none of the intelligent people I've met are non-readers. Nowadays, people are accustomed to reading on computers and phones. The internet can provide useful information, but I still believe reading physical books is better than screens, helping you learn more. Some people multitask and end up achieving nothing. Multitasking seems like it could increase efficiency, but it doesn't. Spreading your energy thin across various tasks leads to superficial engagement and shallow thoughts, essentially exposing your weaknesses to others, which ultimately results in negative consequences. Multitasking is a bad habit, and many fall into this trap without realizing it. High focus and full commitment to a task are essential for success. Without this ability, I would never have succeeded. My success depends not on my IQ, but on my focus. If I have achieved anything, it is largely because I pursue questions to the end. I'm good at focusing on one thing, thinking deeply, finding the right answers, and then acting. Many believe running can help them succeed in life. If you think running will help you succeed, then keep running. At the 2019 shareholder meeting, a 20-year-old shareholder asked, "Sir, how can a young person like me achieve success like yours?" Charlie Munger: It's hard to change the next generation, and mediocrity is a common outcome. Some may succeed, but successful ones are in the minority. How to succeed: self-discipline adhering to ethics, finding like-minded people, and seizing rare opportunities are very simple principles. A shareholder asked, "You and Mr. Buffett are role models for our generation. What should I do to follow your path?" Charlie Munger. Many ambitious young people have asked us similar questions. I always tell people that I became wealthy gradually. I took it step by step, starting small. I worked tirelessly, patiently saved, and quietly endured tough times. If you're looking for a quick way to get rich, you're asking the wrong person. You're young with a long road ahead, so why not succeed more slowly? Use it to kill time. You can't play landlord every day, can you? Every day we ask ourselves how to become wiser. Every day we train ourselves to take on greater responsibilities. Every day we strive to do our work better. Day by day, year by year, you will excel. Progress isn't always visible to the naked eye. It comes from persistence and hard work every day. Young people, remember that even when you achieve something small, keep a clear mind. Currently, you might be chasing beautiful women and fancy cars, but as you age, you might realize that's not what you wanted. In reality, taking it step by step and working hard over a long period is my path to success. You'll get what you deserve. To succeed, you must be worthy of it. That's it. Should I specialize in one field or excel in many? At the 2017 shareholder meeting, an 18-year-old shareholder interested in diverse knowledge asked, "In an era that emphasizes specialization, is there a way out for pursuing broad knowledge?" Charlie Munger. That's a good question. I enjoy researching knowledge in various fields, but for most people this path is not suitable. I have extensive knowledge in various areas because I'm interested and good at interdisciplinary thinking. However, for many, the right approach is to pursue specialization and skills that feel right. While having specialized knowledge is important, broad understanding is also indispensable. On the basis of specialized knowledge, it would be sensible to spend 10% or 20% of your time learning the main concepts of different subjects. I often jokingly tell people that if you only specialize and lack broad knowledge, you'll be like a one-legged man, and you're sure to lose when you have to kick someone else. On one hand, you need to understand the basic knowledge of each field to not be limited in your area of expertise, and on the other, you must focus on your main job. Another question from a young person entering the workforce about choosing a career. I'm just joining society and searching for a suitable career path. Currently, I feel a bit confused. When choosing a career, I mainly consider two aspects. One is what I can do best, and two is where I can contribute most to society. Do you think this is the right approach? How should I choose my career? Charlie Munger. How does one know what job suits them? Let me share from my experience. In life, I can hardly do anything I'm not interested in. How can one succeed if they spend their days doing things they're not interested in? People need to do what they care about. We can't suppress our nature, no matter how hard we try. We can't do things we don't like. Second, we must maximize our advantages and do what we excel at. If you're only 1.5 meters tall, how can you stand on a crowded basketball court? Therefore, when choosing a career, you should combine your interests, strengths, and consider them comprehensively. You also mentioned contributing to society, which relates to ethical issues. Of course, we all need to be ethical. However, don't think that your thoughts are profound while the outside world is vulgar, always thinking that the whole world is against you and that you don't fit in with the world. My idol is the Jewish philosopher Maimonides. Maimonides was first a doctor who helped the world, working hard for 10 to 12 hours a day, completing a significant number of philosophical works in his spare time. Maimonides believed that people should live the fullest lives possible. I suggest young people do more practical things. Young people shouldn't have grandiose ideas, like constantly thinking about which path to take. Young people should do some practical things and learn from Maimonides, how to live a happy life. In 2021, shareholders asked Munger for advice on living a happy life. You're a wise person. How can one live a happy life? What principles should one follow to live a happy life? Charlie Munger. It's not hard to live a happy life. If you want to be happy, first lower your expectations. This is something you can control. Always having unrealistic expectations will lead to a miserable life. I'm very good at lowering my expectations, and I'm doing well because of it. Additionally, when faced with adversity, you must be good at enduring and working hard. Blaming others and constantly complaining will only make things more painful and difficult. A shareholder asked, "Some people think marriage isn't a worthwhile investment. What do you think about the value of marriage?" Charlie Munger. Everyone has their own way of living. For most people, marriage is the best choice. Statistics show that married people tend to live longer. When happiness is measured by external signs like smiles, married people are happier. Life is already tough enough, and most people are better off married. We should value the institution of marriage. I admire the view of family in Asian cultures. Confucianism places great importance on family, and I think this is very reasonable. If we lose the concept of family, our civilization will lose its foundation. A shareholder asked, "What's the most fulfilling thing you've done in your life?" Charlie Munger. I value family more than wealth and status, but I also hate poverty. I worked hard to escape poverty. I'm satisfied with my current life. Larry Page and Sergey Brin of Google are so great that I don't dare compare myself with them. Many young people today are eager to get rich. Rushing to make money might backfire. I think it's better to get rich slowly. Becoming wealthy is an interesting process. Become wealthy gradually, and that way you can truly savor the taste of the process. 62. 10 Daily Habits of Wealthy People. Turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. 1. Manage emotions. In the workplace, when conflicts arise with others, first manage your own emotions. Be wise and control your mood in any situation to solve problems more easily. After managing your emotions, start communicating and resolving conflicts with colleagues or clients. Remember, never let personal emotions interfere with your work, and avoid holding on to negative feelings as it can make your work and life more challenging. 2. Speak up and ask questions. If you encounter any issues or difficulties at work, ask your colleagues and superiors for their opinions immediately. Remember to be smart. Don't hesitate to ask questions or voice your own thoughts. If your plans are not approved, don't be upset. Instead, seek to understand why and learn from it for future plans. 3. Plan your work thoroughly. List out specific tasks and plan the details and sequence of your work. After completing each project, review it to identify what worked and what didn't. You may not always finish tasks on schedule, but the key is learning valuable lessons for future planning. 4. Know your purpose. Wealthy people differ from ordinary people because they always know what they want and what needs to be done to achieve it. They focus on personal and professional development instead of aimlessly changing tasks without a clear purpose. Moreover, wealthy individuals are smart about setting goals and measuring success, continually adjusting to maximize outcomes. 5. Be responsible. Sometimes errors are inevitable in work. Don't avoid them, but take responsibility. This approach is a valuable lesson that helps you grow personally and professionally for future success. Also, a strong sense of responsibility, discipline, and clear rules are essential for rapid advancement. 6. never stop learning and be responsible. Continual learning is crucial for fast growth and a promising future. Observing and learning accumulate experience and skills essential for your work and cognitive development. Besides, be responsible for your tasks. Don't expect others to assist, but be proactive and disciplined to progress. 7. Learn to say no. Knowing how to refuse unreasonable requests from colleagues is crucial for survival and growth in the office environment. Don't be afraid to say no. Failing to do so at the right time can cause unnecessary complications and waste time resolving them. Moreover, a timely refusal can help colleagues recognize their flaws, facilitating mutual growth in the workplace. 8. Master communication skills. You'll meet many different personalities in your work. Stay calm, learn communication techniques, and read people so you don't get manipulated or end up at a disadvantage in conversations. By being observant and capturing small details from others, you can control the narrative, opening up more opportunities to develop and showcase yourself. 9. Never be idle. Outside work hours, dedicate time to enrich your life and soul. Expand your social circle and meet new people to hone your communication skills. Furthermore, regularly read and exercise to keep your body strong, supporting better work performance. 10. Respect your colleagues. Always show respect to your colleagues at work, regardless of their position. Respect is essential for creating a healthy work environment. Never look down on those in lower positions, as it reflects poorly on your emotional intelligence and hampers your chances of success. 63. Men who possess these 4 qualities get richer as they live. 1. Gratitude and loyalty. Brazilian film director Walter Salles once shared a memorable experience while filming in the suburbs of a western city. He met a young shoeshine boy there. Initially, the boy offered to shine Walter's shoes, but he declined. Then the boy pleaded, "Sir, if you won't get a shoe shine, could you lend me some money? I haven't eaten all day. I promise to work harder at shining shoes, and I'll come back in a week to repay you." Moved, Walter gave him a few coins. The boy thanked him profusely and ran off. Later, the director didn't expect the shoeshine boy to actually return to him at the train station. Sweaty and breathless, the boy handed Walter a few coins and said, "I've been waiting here for a long time. Today I can finally repay you." Walter, holding the sweat-soaked coins, returned them to the boy and said, "Come to the film company office downtown tomorrow. I'll have something wonderful for you." The next day, Walter hired the boy as the lead actor in his new movie. That shoeshine boy was Vinicius de Oliveira, now a famous Brazilian actor. Under Walter's guidance, Vinicius successfully played the lead role in the film Central Station, Central do Brasil, which won several prestigious awards, including the Golden Bear at the Berlin International Film Festival. Years later, Vinicius de Oliveira became the president of a film company and wrote his autobiography, My Life as an Actor. Not all smart people succeed. The difference lies in their character. People who are reluctant to take on significant tasks often have a narrow-minded attitude, are calculative, hesitate, and only look out for their own benefits. Only those who can overcome themselves can conquer their fate. 2. Confidence without arrogance. There is no success without pain. The road to success requires enduring many hardships before reaping the rewards. Confident people, regardless of what they do, are steady and unafraid of failure. Confident men usually have a strong mind and determination, are very decisive, and do not back down from challenges. Even if they fail, they quickly regain their fighting spirit to move forward. Life always has many challenges, and confidence is essential in a person. A confident person, no matter what they do, will find luck. 3. Not afraid of hardship. It is said, Those who are not afraid of hardship suffer temporarily, but those who fear hardship suffer their whole life. Edison persisted through countless failures before he could invent the electric light bulb. Lincoln faced many obstacles but never gave up, which led to his election as President of the United States. Even top billionaires like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos also experienced painful failures hundreds of times before achieving their impressive fortunes. From the stories of these famous individuals, people learn the truth. Perseverance leads to success. A courageous man will not give up because of difficulties, will not submit to reality, or be discouraged by obstacles. The measure of a person's success is not how high they reach, but how they stand up after falling into the abyss. Therefore, whatever they do, they must persist to accumulate enough strength. The more they strive to overcome difficulties, the more motivation they have to achieve success. 4. Humility is true strength. Russian literary critic Belinsky said, "All things that are true and great are actually those that are simple and humble. Indeed, ripe grains bow their heads." The more mature a person is, the more they should know how to be humble and respect others before expecting respect in return. A person who can control themselves and remains humble while continually improving will eventually achieve success. It's clear that there are likely many highly successful men around us, whether in family or career, and they are indeed enviable. In them, there are many strengths and aspects worth learning from. In fact, all of us can become the ideal versions of ourselves that we aim to be. So if there's something that needs changing on the outside, let's change it. 64. 3 honest statements a high EQ person never reveals to their boss. 1. It's not my fault. It doesn't concern me. In any team, everyone has different roles and responsibilities, but there are times when collective effort is required. Smart individuals never say, "It's not my fault" or "It doesn't concern me" when things go wrong. Acting this way will definitely make leaders see you as irresponsible. Even if it really wasn't your fault, you should think about how to handle the situation with your team. What the leader really cares about at that moment is improving the situation, not who's to blame. So, this is also an opportunity for you to demonstrate your capabilities. 2. I'm too busy. I can't do it. In a team, staying in your comfort zone can hinder your growth. When a leader assigns you a task, it means they see you as suitable, or it might be an opportunity for you to challenge yourself with something new. So don't hastily refuse a task. You might be turning down a personal opportunity. If you do refuse, it could leave a bad impression on your boss. Leaders don't want to keep employees who are unwilling to learn or improve. When faced with a challenging task, try to find solutions and show a proactive attitude, eagerness to learn, and willingness to take on new, challenging tasks. Leaders will appreciate your initiative and diligence. People with high EQ always seize opportunities to grow and gain more experience. If you really are busy or feel unable to handle the task, communicate this to your boss as early as possible. Provide valid reasons and persuade them to avoid misunderstandings and incorrect judgments. 3. I promise to try harder in the future. One statement emotionally intelligent people avoid making in front of their boss is, "I promise to try harder in the future." It's better to promise at the right time and in the right place and to follow through with your promises. If you keep making empty promises, your boss will likely be upset and disappointed. Instead of making promises, focus on actively improving and working hard. In the workplace, we need to strive daily and hourly to improve ourselves, not just in the future. Thus, saying, "I will try harder in the future" holds no weight. Instead of making such statements, focus on continuously enhancing your skills. The results of your efforts will be the most satisfactory answer you can give to your leaders. Even if you realize you have been underperforming recently and want to make up for it in the future, it's not necessary to make promises. If you don't improve, the boss will still disregard your words. 65. Truly blessed people avoid three things their whole lives. Life is full of traps and temptations, but if you see through them and don't engage, you'll surely live in peace. A truly blessed person isn't necessarily wealthy, because real blessing is about happiness. Having a peaceful, happy life is what being blessed really means. Wealthy people often lack this peace and happiness. Those with less money sometimes live more carefree lives. So, blessings can't be measured in money. In reality, for a person, not having significant losses, having 3 meals a day, being debt-free, and not being controlled by anything counts as being blessed. To receive this kind of blessing, we must create it ourselves. I've noticed from interacting with many wise people that they enjoy peaceful lives because they avoid 3 things. Let's see if you've touched any of these. 1. Bad habits. We all have or have had bad habits, as no one is perfect. If it's just a small bad habit, it's harmless. But if you have a series of destructive habits, that's a big red flag. You need to be aware enough to drop these bad habits immediately. Otherwise, you're throwing away your own blessing. You might lose your health and integrity, and it might even affect your family life. For example, some people stay up late just to be on their phone. Over time, this will likely degrade their eyesight and may even increase their risk of heart disease. Even their brain's responsiveness may slow down. Human habits usually develop to fulfill a need in life, but bad habits often form to satisfy a psychological need or relieve stress. For instance, drinking to relieve stress or staying up late due to anxiety, a form of avoiding the future. A habit isn't considered bad if it's occasionally done to relieve stress or as a treat to oneself. It becomes a bad habit when practiced repeatedly over a long time, eventually harming various aspects of life. If you're experiencing stress and anxiety, handle it positively, and remember not to let indulgence become an addiction. 2. People of poor character. Choose your friends wisely is an age-old advice. Choosing who to spend time with is critical. Beyond friends, this includes business partners and even relatives. I have a relative who, because of bad company, ended up disrupting his family life, and relationships with relatives deteriorated. His friend liked to stir up trouble for others, then took advantage to profit from it. As a result, my relative was influenced by this bad friend and became someone who valued profit over all else, eventually leading to conflicts with many others, bringing trouble upon himself. Smart people never befriend those with serious character flaws because such people can corrupt them and negatively impact their lives. 3. Wasteful spending. Financial management is a common adult topic. We need money for food, clothes, transport, entertainment, and investing in the future. So managing finances is like an operating system for our lives. One mistake can lead to a series of problems. Wise people don't let themselves fall into the habit of overspending. They are highly self-disciplined. I know some people who, due to their habit of overspending, have become boastful and arrogant. They measure everything in terms of money and look down on others. However, they often end up emptying their wallets and then scramble to borrow money to sustain their lifestyle. Eventually, their friends distance themselves due to this behavior. The spending habits of adults reflect their self-discipline. A person without self-discipline can't achieve a quality life, no matter how much help they might wish for from above.
Hey everyone, your comments truly matter, offering insights and motivation to others and uplifting our creative team at Lighthouse of Wisdom channel. Sharing your thoughts and experiences enriches our community. So, let's get the conversation started below. and help illuminate our path with your wisdom.